IRGC's intelligence organization. On the same day, fighter jets guided by precise IDF intelligence struck a structure in Tehran housing top Iranian intelligence officials. As both the nations continue to trade blows, fears of wider regional war looms large, even as diplomatic efforts in a ceasefire remain uncertain.
Viewers, as the tensions between Israel and Iran fled, US President Donald Trump, who is in Canada for G7 summit, backed Israel and said that Iran is not winning the war and that the country should negotiate before it's too late. And the meeting comes as the world leaders gathered for G7 summit, and Donald Trump rushed out of that summit to reach Washington, and troops have also been deployed in the Middle East. Here's a complete report of what happened during the G7 summit meeting.
As the group of 7 nations begin their annual summit in Canada, US President Donald Trump voiced his support for Israel amid its ongoing conflict with Iran. Trump said that Iran will not win amid rising tensions with Israel, and they should get back to negotiations before it is too late. Notably, this comes a day after Trump said that he hopes Israel and Iran can broker a deal just before leaving for the G7 summit. Trump reaffirmed America's support for Israel's defense.
To talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
At the G7 summit, while other leaders from Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy and Japan and the European Union are seeking unity on global crisis, Trump has refused to endorse a joint statement calling for de-escalation. Trump's comment comes as Israel bombarded Iran's state TV in a fresh escalation on Monday. The conflict between Israel and Iran has drawn global attention with growing international calls for de-escalation.
Viewers, now in our next video, we break down the latest and the most critical developments in the escalating conflict between Iran and Israel, with over 150 missiles fired in a dramatic retaliation. The tensions are rising in the Middle East and are sparking fears of a broader regional war. Take a look.
So as we all know, Iran has been attacked and it has struck back. There was a mutt and Jeff process going on. The Americans were negotiating with Iran to defang it of its nuclear program. They were putting a lot of diplomatic pressure on Iran to engage in this thing. And as part of that mutt and Jeff routine, while the Americans were putting the diplomatic pressure, the Israelis were giving the threats of military attack on its nuclear sites, nuclear enrichment plants, on its petrochemical complexes, on its command and control infrastructure. So as we have seen, this attack started yesterday. That is, when Israel struck Natanz, that is the uranium enrichment facility. They struck the command and control headquarters of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps in Tehran, and they also struck the Isfahan, as also the terminal at the island, the Kharg Island, which is the oil terminal, the biggest oil terminal of Iran. So it was a very well-planned attack launched with 200 Israeli warplanes, which stayed on their side, which flew across over Syria and well away from the Iranian border. They fired their beyond visual range missiles, especially their cruise missiles, to decapacitate, to cause serious damage to the Natanz nuclear enrichment plant. And the IAEA has mentioned that there is radioactive contamination in Natanz, which is a very, very serious affair. They also hit the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters. There are various figures coming out of the total number of, generals who have been eliminated. But the head of the IRGC definitely has been killed. Also, the head of the Air Force reportedly been killed, and about 3 to 4 nuclear scientists, top class nuclear scientists who are working on the nuclear enrichment program, on the design of the weapon. So now Iran has hit back. Last night, Iran hit back with a barrage of about 150 ballistic missiles and drones. 150 ballistic missiles. And as was clearly evident on the television screens, though most of these missiles and drones were shot down, a fair percentage does seem to have gotten through, which could be as high as 7 to 8% or more, because we could see massive explosions in Tel Aviv, close to their headquarters of the Ministry of Defense. So Iran has stuck back with determination, and it looks like that Iran has girded up its loins for a long fight. And if a shooting war starts off, Israel is talking of a 10 to 15-day long campaign in which they'll take advantage of the Iranian retaliation to hit more nuclear targets, more energy-related targets, more, command and control targets, so that their aim is to defang the nascent Iranian nuclear capability. They have said that we just will not accept a nuclear Iran. And to that extent, we will do everything possible to see that Iran does not acquire that nuclear capability. Now, where will this all lead to? Right? The simple fact is that this could, at the very least, lead to a major regional conflict. Iran has said if our nuclear facilities are attacked, we'll try and hit the nuclear facilities of Israel. If our energy facilities are attacked, we will not only hit the Israeli energy facilities, but also energy facilities in the entire Arab world. We will try and create, an energy global crisis. And if they hit the oil fields, if they hit the Persian oil Gulf, oil routes, if they start hitting the tankers, then there is going to be economic chaos. They will be held to pay. You see, the simple fact is the price of oil could shoot up. The world was just recovering from the aftershocks of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And now if, the balloon goes up in the Middle East and the oil facilities of Saudi Arabia, of Oman, Muscat, etc. are hit, if American air bases, American ground troop bases in the Middle East, which are close targets within easy reach of Iranian missiles and drones, if these are hit, it could become a shooting war that could last for months, if not years. Yes, Iran will lose finally, but Iran, their pain tolerance threshold is extremely high. 8 years they fought the Iran-Iraq war when they were, technologically far inferior in strength and capability. Today their capabilities are very high. They almost have 10,000 ballistic missiles, thousands and thousands of Shahid drones, which the Russians have used with such good effect in Ukraine. So it is a proven design which they have done. They've already hit Israel twice. The first time with drones and some missiles. The second time primarily with missiles. And even then 7 to 8% of their missiles had gotten through. The Fateh missile series and, the Shahbaz kind of series of missiles, they had been able to penetrate to targets in Tel Aviv. Even the Houthis have been able to penetrate. So when you attack in the mass, at least about 10% and less, despite Iron Dome, despite the Arrow, missiles, despite the third Patriots. They will get through, and they are already causing a bit of consternation and alarm in Israel proper. Will America come into the fray? Yes, if Iran keeps hitting at Israel and if Iran escalates vertically and horizontally to widen the spread of the war to the petrol oil refineries in Saudi Arabia, in Oman, Muscat, Bahrain, etc., and also targets the American bases where American troops are staying, are based currently, then it could, all bets are off. China is likely to support Iran. Russia, though bogged down in its own war in the Ukraine, has already provided Iran a fair amount of high-tech weapons and equipment. They are not a match with the Israelis. But the fact is, they do give Iran the capability to inflict damage of a very, very serious order. So that exactly is the problem. And if it lengthens out, then you can be sure that over a period of time, other actors could join the conflict. You may destroy Iran. You may destroy Iran. You may try and carry out regime change there. But the threshold of tolerance of the Iranian people, their pain thresholds are extremely high. Even in the past, like I said, in the Iran-Iraq war, 8 years of mayhem and massacres they withstood, but they almost defeated Iraq, sorry, and Iran took the war back to inside Iraq. That was the level of the tenacity of their defense. So this is a very, very grim and foreboding scenario. Donald Trump was very keen to have, an era of peace and quiet in which he could consolidate, his economy, build up his military strength, and then get on to biscuits, and then get on to, any major or with China or with both. He didn't want to get involved, bogged down straight away. He has to deal with his own deep state, which does not seem to be obeying his orders. And it looks like the operation, perhaps carried out to hit the Russian bombers, was a rogue operation. If that is so, it is an extremely serious matter. And he will take some time to assert control. So he was keen, as a grand strategic design, to have an era of peace and quiet in which he would consolidate the American economy. The turmoil that has been created by the induction of the tariffs and trade barriers, etc., all that would have settled down. But looks like he's not going to get that era of peace and quiet, and that has very grim prognostications for the rest of the world. We are headed towards a period of major wars and conflicts. Unfortunately, however much we may not like it, however much we may not want it, nobody can escape the grim conclusion: the Russia-Ukraine war is 3.5 years and counting. No end in sight. It is only escalating. The war in the Middle East, is continuing and escalating. The Houthis, the Hezbollah, the Hamas will now try and come to the help of Iran, and therefore there will be all-round fighting in the Middle East. And if China decides this is the precise time it wants to invade Taiwan, well, then you have a world war on your hands, whether you want to or you don't. That is the grim, very grim prognostication and forecast. We are headed for war and violence on a scale which has been unprecedented. Was last seen only in World War I and World War II. A lot of people say that it can't be World War III because World War II, World War I, the Western powers were colonizing powers. They had their colonies in Asia and Africa, which were forced to join the war, whether they liked it or not. I fully understand that things have changed. But if the thing escalates to nuclear levels, that will affect the whole globe. Please understand this. A lot of people try and teach me history current history. I'm well aware of current history. I'm saying that World War I was a multipolar conflict. World War II was a multipolar conflict. Today, again, we have a multipolar global environment with America, Russia, China, India, Japan, Brazil, South Africa, etc. as the major global powers. And Europe, of course, still a center of power, though it can't operate entirely on its own without American help. We are in a multipolar environment. And historically, multipolar environment for scale of global conflicts. We hope it doesn't turn out to be that, but I'm sorry, the way things are headed, the prognostication seems grim. Thank you.
It's time for a quick break, viewers. On the other side, Air India Express flight has been diverted back to Delhi due to a technical snag. The flight was heading to Ranchi. We'll get you more details on that. Along with the rising conflict in the Middle East, US President Donald Trump has left G7 summit midway and has ordered National Security Council meeting at the White House. Stay tuned for more on that.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
MDH की देगी मीरज,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मीरज।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
पंद्रह साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
और इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे।
Welcome back, viewers. Let's now get you the top updates from across the world in this roundup. Let's get started. The Israeli military said its air force is continuing to strike military targets in Iran despite international calls for a halt to the escalation. Israel and Iran have traded more missile attacks. The Israeli armed forces bombarded the Tehran airport and struck Iran's F-14 fighter jets in an airstrike. Israel's strike comes after Iran fired a new wave of missile attacks at Israel early Monday, killing at least 8 people, while Israel warned hundreds and thousands of people in the Middle East of Tehran to evacuate ahead of the new strikes. As Iran-Israel conflict enters day 5, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu strongly defended IDF's attack on Iranian soil. In an interview to Western media, Netanyahu said, and I quote, "We are not just fighting our enemy, we are fighting US's enemy." Netanyahu further said, the Israeli strikes have set Iran's nuclear program back very long time.
We're not just fighting our enemy, we're fighting your enemy. For God's sake, they chant, death to Israel, death to America. We're simply on their way. And this could reach America soon. I mean, to have these mad mullahs who are committed to destroying us in order to destroy you, to say that they should have nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles to deliver them to you, and to say that that's not your interest, well, we're fighting this war. We're taking the action.
Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived in Kazakhstan for a 3-day visit, during which he'll attend the second China Central Asia Summit. Xi landed and he was welcomed by Kazakh President. The leaders of Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan are also expected to attend the summit in Astana. According to China's foreign ministry, the summit aims to deepen regional cooperation and advance the country's multi-billion-dollar Belt and Road initiative across Central Asia. LOT Polish Airlines placed a firm order with Airbus, marking the first time Poland's national carrier selects the European aircraft manufacturer as part of its fleet modernization. The agreement, which could foresee a future increase to 84 A220 aircraft, was announced at the 2025 Paris Air Show. The order includes 20 Airbus 220-100s and 20 Airbus 220-300s planes. CEO of LOT Polish Airlines, Michael Fijol, said he believed the Airbus 220 was well suited for the company's future plans, and their plan is to grow to increase the number of aircraft and serve more passengers.
We truly believe that A220, Airbus A220, is the right aircraft for future of LOT. It simply very well suits our strategy. Firstly, it serves the growth, and our plan is to grow, to increase the number of aircrafts, to increase the number of destinations, and to serve more passengers.
Viewers, it's time for a quick break, but on the other side, we'll get you the latest as far as the air scares are concerned, and also the latest from the West Asia conflict. Stay tuned to Republic TV for more.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्टर, तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना? उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ?
है ना अंकल, सिंगर इनेबल सनरूफ।
और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना?
ये मिला।
हाँ? हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश में इंदौर की एक बहू की भी जान गई है। सैकड़ों लोग इसमें अपनी जान गंवाए हैं। बहुत ही दुखद हादसा है, लेकिन इंदौर की जो बहू है उनके घर में हमें हरप्रीत होरा जो बच्ची है वो अपने पति से लंदन मिलने जाना चाह रही थी, क्योंकि उनके पति का 16 जून को जन्मदिन था। हरप्रीत के ससुर जी हमारे साथ हैं, राजेंद्र होरा, उनसे हम बात करते हैं। सर, कैसे आपको कब फर्स्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन कब मिली इस हादसे की और आपकी बहू की?
सर, मीडिया के माध्यम से प्लेन क्रैश की जानकारी मिली, प्रथम वहीं से मिली। अब बिटिया उसी प्लेन में जा रही थी तो नैसर्गिक रूप से मन में डाउट हुआ, पर एक उम्मीद की किरण थी, क्योंकि पहले 30 लोगों का सुना, फिर 50 लोगों का, फिर संख्या बढ़ती चली गई। फिर
आपको वहां से किसका फोन आया जिसने जानकारी दी कि आपकी बहू भी नहीं रही?
ये न्यूज़ चैनल के माध्यम से कि 242 लोगों में से एक बचा, तो 241 का ही था, और उनके फादर उनको छोड़ने गए थे। वो छोड़ के निकले, कुछ दूरी पहुंचे थे, फिर उनको प्लेन हादसे की जानकारी लगी। फिर उनसे बातचीत करी तो उन्होंने बताया कि प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, बिटिया उसी में ही थी।
16 तारीख को शायद हरप्रीत के जो हस्बैंड हैं रॉबी, उनका बर्थडे था, उनसे मिलने जा रही थी।
हाँ जी, पहले 19 को जा रही थी, 16 को बर्थडे था, तो बेटे के साथ उसने प्लान किया।
I don't just report from courtrooms on verdicts, I decode them. From breaking news to complex legal verdicts, every word is backed by law. At the Republic School of Journalism, you will learn how to report on legal issues with accuracy and speed. The RSJ Diploma, starting on the 30th of June. Apply now.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
break. I'm Shivangi Shukla getting you the latest coming in. Prime Minister Modi is in Canada for the G7 summit, where he will address the outreach session. We're counting down to that. But as usual, the headlines first. Let's get started. PM Modi lands in Canada to participate in the 51st G7 summit in Canada. Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai suffers engine snag in Kolkata. Passengers deplaned. Air India Express flight diverted back to Delhi due to technical issues. Flight was heading to Ranchi. Amid rising conflict in Middle East, US President Donald Trump leaves G7 summit midway, orders National Security Council meet at the White House. A fierce fighting between Iran and Israel continues. Trump says everyone should evacuate Tehran immediately. MBA begins evacuation of 10,000 Indian students in Tehran. Batch of 100 Indian students being evacuated through Armenia. All right, getting some big breaking news coming in right now, viewers. We're learning that an Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai through Kolkata suffered a technical snag in one of its engines, requiring passengers to be deplaned during a scheduled halt at the city airport. Early flight Air India 180 arrived on time at the city airport, but a technical snag in the left engine has delayed the takeoff. At about 5:20, the announcement was made in the morning. Aircraft asked all the passengers to deplane. The captain of the plane told the passengers that a decision was being made in the interest of flight safety. All right, let's go straight across to our guest who's joining us right now. Mr. Sanat Kaul is joining us live here. He's an aviation expert. And Mr. Kaul, you know, we have seen back-to-back cases of technical snags where flights have to be diverted or they make an emergency landing. Once again, we see a Air India flight facing technical issues, and then they have to either be deplaned or they have to make an emergency landing or make a stop. Now, what, according to you, is leading to these back-to-back issues? We know that Air India is already in pressure because the probe is highlighting and trying to look for more gaps when it comes to passenger safety, Mr. Kaul.
Well, I think it's a pure case, just now, of management of air safety by Air India, because they have a lot of planes which are old, and they have to do a good job to manage it, both technically as well as, inside the cabin, the seats and all, the entertainment system, all these things. There is an issue which they are not able to resolve. And now I read in the morning paper, they are appointing McKinsey to look into it. Now, McKinsey is a consultant, not specialized in aviation. And they can look into the management. But I have said earlier, and I'm saying it again, that they have a collaboration with Singapore Airlines. Singapore Airlines is one of the best ones in the country, in the world. And why are they not using Singapore Airlines? They have not. They started Vistara Airlines with them, and they ran it very well. Of course, they had new planes. But I still say that their management needs to be fully revamped, and they have to somehow involve Singapore Airlines, which is a shareholder in Air India, to get the management going. There is certainly an issue with management of Air India, and they have to do something about it. Other thing is DGCA. DGCA has been sending them notices about slack, maybe even fined them. They have been put on, the penalties have been put on them. But that's not enough. DGCA is now got a huge passenger, lot of fleet in India, big fleet. India is considered to be the third biggest passenger traffic in the world. and they have not grown with the traffic. There is a need to increase the staffing of DGCA, bring in more professionalism, reduce the political interference, if any. But there was a proposal to have a CAA, meaning a authority, a civil aviation authority, which has not been done. It was approved by the cabinet long time back, but it's not been done. I think there is a need now to revamp DGCA, which is the safety regulator, which is the main body. Thanks.
Mr. Kaul, I wanted to hold on because one more case is coming out. Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai through Kolkata has also suffered a technical issue. This is what we're learning of right now, viewers. Air India flight from Mumbai to Ahmedabad was in fact, we already told you that's happened. Now we see one more case coming in right now. Air India flight from Mumbai to Ahmedabad operated by Airbus was cancelled on June 16th. According to sources, the flight was initially delayed due to an operational issue. However, during the delay window, the crew's flight duty time limitation came into effect, resulting in the cancellation. The flight was scheduled to depart at 6:35 p.m. and arrive at 7:55 p.m. and did not depart. Okay, this is Mumbai-Ahmedabad flight cancelled over some issues that we have seen. This flight was cancelled. It did not even take off, and I'm being joined once more by Mr. Sanat Kaul, aviation expert, joining us here on Republic TV. And you were mentioning about DGCA, but DGCA is also conducting a fleet-wide survey of the Air India flights of their airlines. We also see that there are some SOPs which are being looked at, being revised. But what do you really make out of these back-to-back technical snags that we are seeing? Are things getting better? That is a question.
Well, it's very difficult to give you an answer on that because maybe the inspection is much better now and therefore they're finding more snags. But the fact is that the maintenance of these airlines, maybe 10-year-old planes of of the Boeing fleet, and Boeing is already under a lot of investigation, a lot of stress, as you know. In the US, the US Congress has taken Boeing to task and fired their CEO, which is out in the public in a video. So everything is going wrong, but Air India has to put its act right. They have to do something about it. It is not working out. I don't think a consultancy organization like McKinsey, which will take about 6 months to 1 year to give a report, is the answer to it. I think they need to do it themselves. Sit down and do it. Management is something which they have to do it. Maybe McKinsey can help them also. I am not criticizing McKinsey, but I'm saying I've already said what I wanted to say, that Singapore Airlines is a shareholder of Air India today. Why is Singapore Airlines not being given proper management task? They are the top people in managing airlines. They can help, in my view, and that is where I hold myself, that this is what should be done immediately.
All right, Mr. Kaul, I will be coming back to you because we're getting one more story is coming in right now. Air India Express flight from Delhi to Ranchi, scheduled to land at Birsa Munda Airport, was also diverted back to Delhi. One of our flights, this is the statement coming in, one of our flights returned to the Delhi after takeoff due to suspected technical issues. The post-inspections and clearance, the aircraft has continued the scheduled operation. Air India Express spokesperson has said this. Delhi-Ranchi flight had to return after a technical snag. And I want to go straight across to our aviation expert who's joining us live on Republic TV. Mr. Sanat Kaul continues to be with us. Mr. Sanat Kaul, you said what you had to say, but these cases are not stopping. Now, we have also highlighted to our viewers, and we'll show that later on, about all the emergency landings which have been made, or flights being diverted, or they might have to stop at a stopover city because there's something which was found wrong. Now, this applies to both domestic flights, international flights, and domestic flights from India which are flying internationally. Now, do you really think that Air India, you were saying, should review its own situation, because already the center has formed a probe? But is it time for Air India to ask itself some tough questions?
Absolutely. Air India is not able to manage the new Air India which they've got. They have to do something about it. I have made a suggestion that they should involve Singapore Airlines much more, and not first they wanted to recruit somebody from Turkey, which was politically not acceptable, so the person didn't come. They've got somebody else who's probably not familiar with the Air India culture, and Singapore Airlines already handled Vistara. They know the Indian system, so that is how I say that but they can do their own management review. I'm not making any suggestion, but all I'm saying is Air India's management today is really, really down in the dumps. They are not able to manage a fleet which they have, and they have done things which obviously have gone wrong. So they have to do something about it, and they are not coming out with any statement.
All right. Okay. Thank you for joining us there, Mr. Sanat Kaul, aviation expert, joining us here on Republic TV and helping us understand these technical snags that Air India flights are still facing. Now, viewers, we have on our screens, what you see is all the technical snags that have been reported in the past few days now. So we will take you through what we showed you today. The 3 updates of the Air India flights is not new. This has been happening for the past few days. So June 16th, Air India flight 315, Hong Kong to Delhi flight had to make a U-turn. All right, and this is because of a mid-air glitch had issued a forced return to Hong Kong. All right, now all passengers were safely deboarded, so thankfully the passengers were safe and deboarded on time. All right, let's move ahead right now. June 16, Air Scare on Jeddah to Lucknow flight. Okay, this is a Saudi Arabian airline flight. Then we had shown those visuals when they had come in. So this flight, at the back of the flight, there were smokes and sparks being seen the moment this Saudi Arabia airline flight landed. And the passengers were thankfully disembarked safely. So this is one more case which had come in. This is one more case which has come in. Let's move ahead to the next case on our screen. All right, this is one more flight. This is a Delhi to Ranchi Air India flight. Plane makes a U-turn to Delhi over technical issues. Technical issues were reported after takeoff from Delhi, and the flight operations resumed after inspection and clearance. So these are, I repeat, these are the flights which had to make U-turns, emergency landings because of technical issues found right on time, but when the plane took off, that is very clear. Okay, this is also one more flight. This is one of the air scares. Air India 2493 flight, June 17th, air scare on Mumbai Ahmedabad plane, and the operational issue delays flights once again. So this is one more flight. Flight was cancelled as well because of the operational issues which were found. And let's move ahead right now to Air India flight 180. That is right. The technical snag on San Francisco to Mumbai. Now this flight was flying through Kolkata. Kolkata was a stopover for this flight. We told you about this flight a short while back. Technical snag was reported in the left engine this time around, and the snag delayed takeoff from Kolkata. So like we said, it's a series of incidents, viewers, series of incidents. However, it's very important to note that the panel formed by the center, the DGCA, and the other investigation agencies are looking into these issues, trying to come up with more SOPs and really focus on passenger safety. All right, breaking news coming in, viewers. We're getting some more breaking news coming in. Let's go to the top updates. This is, we're shifting our focus right now. Multiple encounters took place in Uttar Pradesh. And this is coming in as we are getting our viewers more updates on the story. From what we understand is that encounters have happened in a couple of areas. This is Operation Langra, which is completely in full swing. Multiple encounters in Uttar Pradesh. Operation Langra in full swing. Operation Langra is when it's the same operation where we see that the police are looking for criminals, history cheaters, shooting them in the leg. That's why the name Operation Langra. Now, multiple encounters have happened in different places. Kushinagar among one. A daring encounter unfolded between the police and these criminals who were attempting to escape after firing at the police team. The accused was shot in the leg. during the exchange of gunfire and is currently receiving treatment in the hospital. That is right. And in the case of murder of a person in a village under police station area by Kerala police, one accused was injured in firing done in self-defense and police encounter. In Firozabad, police arrested 4 notorious thieves and 2 accused belonging to the Odisha Jajpur interstate gang who used to do a recce of the goldsmiths and dupe them. They were injured in a police encounter as well. And I want to go straight across to my colleague who's joining us right now. We have with us Ajay Dubey. Operation Langra in full swing in UP, Ajay. Multiple encounters in Uttar Pradesh happening as we speak, and we show those pictures to our viewers where these criminals, history sheeters, have been shot in the leg and they're being carried by policemen because, of course, they have been shot in the leg. That's why the name is Operation Langra. Many more have been arrested and apprehended in the past as well. Let's go ahead and to you and tell our viewers what exactly is happening when it comes to Operation Langra.
Definitely see in various parts of Uttar Pradesh, including Western UP, including Eastern UP. Today only we can see this operation going on. Various criminals. See, the important most part is whenever police is taking, in many scenarios we have seen that police is taking such criminals to into their custody, or they are going to track them. These criminals, they start firing on police, and in answer there is a conflict between both the parties, and police arrest them. Such in case today we have seen in Eastern UP also various cases in including Bahraich, Kushinagar, Firozabad. So in such districts we have seen this incident, and from the very beginning of Yogi Adityanath's government, the thing is very clear that in terms of law and order, there's a zero tolerance, and we can see in visuals also that various criminals are being arrested after the operation.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Ajay, with all those details. I will be coming back to you because we see fresh encounters and Operation Langra continues in Uttar Pradesh. I have to move ahead right now because we're getting some more breaking news coming in. Union Home Secretary to hold Amarnath Yatra security review meeting today, where we see that Govind Mohan will be chairing a meeting in Srinagar afternoon. Heads of Jammu and Kashmir Police, CRPF, SSB, ITBP, BSF and intelligence agencies to take part in the meeting. Top brass of Indian Army, Indian Air Force also to be part of that meeting to finalize action plan on security front as well as preparations for Amarnath Yatra. Amarnath Yatra will start on July 3rd and will commence on August 9th. Okay, big update coming in. Amarnath security review meeting is happening as we speak. Union Home Secretary to hold Amarnath Yatra review meeting. And let's go to Gursimran, who's joining us live as we speak. Yes, Gursimran, we see that Amarnath Yatra preparations have started, but what is very crucial is the security angle, because the security of the devotees is extremely important, especially when we talk about sensitive issues when it comes to terrorism or any kind of other unfortunate incident which could take place. That is why the meeting is underway. If you could take our viewers through what the meeting is all about, who's attending it, and what can we expect post that meeting in terms of security.
Shivangi, you have rightly mentioned that the security threat is always there, and since there are credible inputs that are available with the agencies, that Pakistan and their terror groups through their proxies will try to foment the trouble during the Amarnath Yatra that is all set to start from 3rd of July. On 2nd of July, the first batch will leave from the Bhagwati Nagar base camp in Jammu, and on 3rd, it will be performing the first darshan till 9th of August when it will commence on the Raksha Bandhan. Now coming to the meeting has been called by the Union Home Secretary Govind Mohan, who will be reaching Kashmir in a short while from now. Today noon meeting will take place that will be attended by the DGP of the Jammu and Kashmir Police, along with the top brass of the Indian Army, BSF, Sashastra Seema Bal, ITBP, and also the CRPF that will be part of this grid, along with the security agencies, the intel agencies that are there for the security and intelligence generation in Jammu and Kashmir. This will be to finalize the action plan for the Amarnath Yatra, that how the additional deployment that has been sent to Jammu and Kashmir, roughly 500 companies that have been deployed, they have been sent to their places, and that all final action plan will be discussed during this meeting. Apart from this, we are told that the Jammu and Kashmir Home Secretary Chandrakar Bharti and the J&K Chief Secretary Atal Dolu. They will also be part of this meeting, which also means that the preparations and the arrangements will also be discussed during this meeting. And it is believed that after this meeting, Union Home Secretary will be briefing the Union Home Minister with regards to the arrangement for the Amarnath Yatra, so that a foolproof action plan can be devised. Because what we have seen in Pahalgam and the way Pakistan has brutally been smashed by the Indian side, now rattled Pakistan will try to foment the trouble, and we have seen that there has been a persistent threat on the Amarnath Yatra, where the terrorists always try to target the Yatris so that they can instill a sense of fear among them. But now the security has been heightened and a foolproof security plan is underway. Today, a meeting will begin at noon, and it is expected to go on for more than a 3 hours time, post which the Union Home Secretary will return to the national capital after getting the due intelligence inputs and the action plan from the forces on ground.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely good, Simran. Thank you for joining us with all those details. And like you said, the security of the devotees is the most important, and a special review meeting is taking place on that. I will have to move ahead. Thank you for now, good Simran. And after Congress alleged U-turn by the central government, we see this happen in a Gazette notification on the 16th census. The Ministry of Home Affairs and the PIB fact-checked the Grand Old Party and busted the misinformation over caste census. Here's a report, viewers. Take a look.
Congress MP and senior leader Jairam Ramesh said that much touted Gazette notification on the 16th caste census, to be conducted in late 2026 and early 2027, has just been issued and is a damn squib. Jairam Ramesh further alleged U-turns by the central government. The Ministry of Home Affairs fact-checked the Congress party, saying that caste census enumeration is a part of the upcoming census. And misleading information is being spread that there is no mention of caste count in the Gazette notification. Not the Home Ministry, the Press Information Bureau too fact-checked the Congress. In a post on social media platform X, PIB said several social media posts are claiming that the central government is not including the caste enumeration in Census 2027. These claims are misleading. PIB further said the government has already announced that the caste enumeration will be conducted along with Census 2027.
Viewers, let's move ahead. A very heart-wrenching tragedy unfolded in the national capital region as the body of a young model, Sheetal, is found in a canal. 24-year-old's life was brutally cut short, leaving a family and loved ones in shock and grief. As the investigation begins, the police unravel the dark details surrounding her murder. Take a look.
In a spine-chilling incident, the body of a young woman found in the NCR canal between Khanda and Jharoti villages of Haryana. The deceased has been identified as Sheetal, a model associated with Haryanvi music industry, originally from Khalila Majra village in Panipat. Sheetal's body was later found in a canal, and her family performed her last rites, refusing to comment on the incident.
ये वही नहर है, आप देखिए ये वही स्पॉट है। सबसे एक्सक्लूसिव तस्वीर आपको दिखा रहे हैं। यहीं से वो बॉडी जो है इसी जगह से उठा करके इस तरफ लाई गई थी, और यहाँ पर बताया जा रहा है, जो स्थानीय लोग हैं यहाँ पर, उन्होंने कहा कि यहीं पर वो जो लाश है वो यहाँ पर रखी गई थी। काफ़ी देर तक वो लाश जो है यहाँ पर रखी गई थी। ये तस्वीरें सबसे अहम हो जाती है। आप देखिए दूर दूर तक आपको कोई भी यहाँ पर रिहायशी घर नज़र नहीं आएगा। ये पूरा एरिया जो है एक तरह से जंगल नुमा एरिया है, और इस वक्त आपको ये नहर नजर आ रही होगी। फिलहाल यहाँ पर आप बहाव देखिए, पानी का बहाव भी यहाँ पर बहुत तेज है।
The mother is inconsolable. Sheetal had recently moved to Satkartar colony in Panipat with her sister, Neha. She reportedly went to Ahar village for a music album shoot. She even met BJP leader Balwant Sharma and visited a cow shed. Little did she know that night would be her last. On Sunday, Neha had filed a missing persons report at the old industrial area police station in Panipat after losing contact with Sheetal. According to the family, Sheetal was last seen with her boyfriend Sunil. A CCTV footage has also emerged showing Sheetal in a car with Sunil before her murder. Acting swiftly, police swooped in and arrested the boyfriend who confessed stabbing Sheetal to death during initial questioning.
कल देर शाम थाना खरकोदा के अंतर्गत एक सूचना प्राप्त हुई थी कि एक व्यक्ति की चाकुओं से गोदकर हत्या कर दी गई है, जिसके संदर्भ में
All right, getting you some big breaking news coming in. G7 leaders issued a statement on the Iran-Israel conflict. Viewers, first statement on Iran-Israel ceasefire. The statement says, we, the leaders of the G7, reiterate our commitment to peace and stability in the Middle East. In this context, we affirm that Israel has the right to defend itself. We reiterate our support for Israel's security. We also affirm the importance of protecting civilians. Iran is the main source of instability and terrorism in the region. We have always been clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Huge update coming in. This is on the Iran-Israel conflict. G7 leaders making it very, very clear. Iran, I repeat, this is a very important part. Iran is the main source of instability and terrorism in the region. We have always been clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. These are back-to-back updates coming in right now, viewers on Republic TV. And this is coming just after Prime Minister Modi has reached Canada for the G7 summit. Just post that, the leaders of the G7 have issued a statement as the Iran versus Israel conflict is getting bigger and bigger by the day. Huge update coming in right now, viewers on Republic TV. This is on the Iran-Israel situation, which is developing, and we can see that both the nations are going ahead and assaulting each other with missiles. But G7 leaders say that Israel has a right for self-defense and Iran will not have and cannot have nukes. Huge coming in. They're also asking for de-escalation, saying that peace and stability should be the priority. All right, viewers, we will take a short break right now. We will be coming right back. And remember, at the same time, we see that Donald Trump has just left the G7 summit midway to have a meeting with his top officials at the White House in the Situation Room. That is also happening simultaneously. And MEA has begun the evacuation of 10,000 Indian students in Tehran. Batch of 100 Indian students are being evacuated through Armenia. Stay tuned.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ. डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड भी, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा. अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ. सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला. सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा जीरा सिप.
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स. वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम.
पंद्रह साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से.
और इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे. तो 6 दिन में रिटर्न था उनका जाने का, तो 6 दिन में ये हादसा हो गया.
कहाँ से? अहमदाबाद की प्रॉपर रहने वाले?
नहीं, वो एक्चुअली रहते हैं हम लोग बॉम्बे है क्या. और वाया फ्लाइट था.
First up headlines, PM Modi lands in Canada for the 51st G7 summit. Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai suffers engine snag in Kolkata, passengers deplane. Air India Express flight diverted back to Delhi due to tech issues. Flight was heading to Ranchi. Amid rising conflict in Middle East, US President Trump leaves G7 summit midway, orders National Security Council meet in the White House. Fierce fighting between Iran and Israel continues. Trump says everyone should evacuate Tehran immediately. MEA begins evacuation of 10,000 Indian students at Tehran. Batch of 100 Indian students are being evacuated through Armenia. We're live and breaking. I'm Shivangi Shukla getting you the latest coming in. And let's go to the G7 summit. What has happened right now? G7 summit leaders, all of them have gone ahead and issued a joint statement on the Iran-Israel conflict. Statement says, we the leaders of the G7 reiterate our commitment to peace and stability in the Middle East. In this context, we affirm that Israel has the right to defend itself. We reiterate our support for Israel's security. We also say the importance of protecting civilians. Iran is the main source of instability and terrorism in the region. We have always been clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Now, huge update coming in. Also, very important to note that that Trump is not there. Trump is not there. He has left. He has left and gone back to the White House to have a meeting in the Situation Room. Very important to note. But after that, after Trump has left Canada, G7 leaders have issued a statement. And let's go straight across to my colleague, our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor, who's joining us. Abhishek, you know, there's so many questions which I want to ask you. One is obviously about the G7 statement on the Iran-Israel conflict. Second is, it looks like Trump was not very keen on this joint statement. Is that true? He left midway and has gone back to the White House.
Well, absolutely. Trump has gone back to the White House, and it might be related with the joint statement because remember, he had made it clear that he's not going to be agreeing with the Israel-Iran part of the statement because while the statement blames Iran as the source of instability, it also asks for restraint. It also asks or calls for Israel to pull back and de-escalate. So that's contrary to the position that the United States has taken with all the increased deployment, with the fact that the poster of President Donald Trump was very aggressive. And it was suggesting that the Americans are running out of patience, that they really want Iran to take it or leave it, the deal. But the deal is obviously that the Iranians have to completely give up on the nuclear option. I think it's building up towards more like America might get militarily involved. So obviously they would not want to be part of a statement which calls for immediate de-escalation and restraint. That's why perhaps you are seeing this is also part of the larger fracture that we have seen in the developed world, Shivangi, from the time of taking over of President Trump and the manner in which the United States has clearly made the Europe war to be a European problem, and the fact that traditionally Trump has been very anti-NATO and has opened direct lines of communication with President Putin of Russia. And so this typically is also the marker of the larger fracture that we have seen within what earlier used to be called the developed West. And we have seen, for example, the United Kingdom calling for de-escalation but sending in its military aircraft, while the likes of France and Germany. They have kept a little distance from theater of war in the Middle East, even as they are bolstering up their own defenses, bolstering their own contribution to the war in Europe. The statement is more a reflection of the geopolitics of the day, particularly when it comes to the West. G7, remember, otherwise, if you look at it, Russia is not part of it, China is not part of it, India is not part of it. If you look at the top 5 economies, China not being there, India not being there is clearly indicative of the decreasing clout anyway of G7. Earlier, together they would take a decision and that would effectively represent the worldview of the most powerful nations in the world taken together. Now, typically, they do not represent the worldview of the most powerful nations in the world. A and B, within themselves, there is a huge fracture, as this latest development suggests.
Yes, I'm getting some breaking updates coming in, Abhishek. This is huge. This is huge coming in. We are coming to know there is an open source information on US deployment in Europe. There seems to be some deployment in Europe, and there is information coming in is that 2 aircrafts have touched down at the Moron Air Base, and 2 more are approaching. This is a huge update coming in right now, and this is coming in as there's still some open-ended questions. The final destination of this aircraft is unknown, but there are some US Air Force aircrafts which left the US last night, and they're starting to reach Europe. This is the big breaking news coming in here on Republic TV. But we don't know where are these US aircrafts headed. However, these US aircrafts have just reached Europe. Abhishek, if you could just help our viewers understand this is the breaking news and a developing story that we are understanding is coming in. US Air Force aircrafts have reached Europe.
Yes, in the morning, Shivangi, remember we broke the story of how the Department of Defense, the Pentagon has announced that they are bolstering their defensive posture in the Middle East by sending in reinforcements, by sending in more fighter jets, by sending in more warships. And this seems to be in line with that, which basically means that what constitutes defensive posture for the U.S. might also include some offense to sort of de-escalate the situation, in the sense that what is called escalate to de-escalate. While we have seen the theater of war has sort of hit a stalemate between Iran and Israel, and surprisingly, the Iranians have hit back at Israel every day of last 5 days with equal number of missiles, and they have succeeded in breaching the air defense shield of Israel and hit the ground with their missiles and target some installations, including the Haifa port, including some oil refineries and some other facilities, and as Israel claims, also some civilian areas. So the strikes have been massive at that. So about 400 missiles have been hit, have been sent in by Iran towards the Israelis, and many of them succeeded in hitting their targets. So obviously, perhaps the United States believed that this time maybe the Iranians were more prepared, and to get the situation out of a logjam, they need to get into it militarily. Maybe that's the message, or maybe it's a little more aggressive posturing than earlier, just so that Iran backs off. Whatever the case, the situation is fluid, and we would know more perhaps when Trump is back in the White House and the National Security Council meeting that he has called in the Situation Room happens. Remember also that Situation Room is generally associated with the monitoring of ongoing operations. So whether the meeting has been called because Trump wants America to get militarily involved in the situation in the Middle East is something we would have to wait to see. But obviously things are building up to some kind of military action, and hence the escalation.
All right, thank you, Abhishek, for getting those details for us. Open source information on US deployments. Some US aircrafts have now gone ahead and they've reached Europe. I will have to move ahead. Because we're getting some more information coming in. Iran-Israel ceasefire offer has been made, viewers. This is what Macron is saying. As Trump exits the G7 summit early, Donald Trump dramatically left the G7 summit in Canada a day early to rush back to Washington with the French President Emmanuel Macron claiming the US leader was considering the prospect of a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Okay. Huge update coming in right now, and I want to go across to a guest who's joining us, Major General P.K. Sehgal, defense expert, joining us here on Republic TV. Thank you for joining us, Major General. Now, there's a lot of speculation which is doing the rounds right now, whether there was a ceasefire offer made. Macron is saying that it was made. At the same time, we see Donald Trump leaving Midway, going back to the U.S., having a meeting in the Situation Room at the White House. How do you see this situation evolving, given the fact that the G7 summit leaders are right now holding talks, and PM Modi as well is at the G7 summit?
Situation is extremely dangerous and becoming increasingly something which could lead to either way. Personally, I don't think the ceasefire agreement is going to be accepted either by Israel or by Iran. As far as Israel is concerned, Israel is hell-bent to completely wipe out their nuclear capability. The biggest capability that for now, so far they're absolutely intact. They've not been able to hit it out. And unless the Americans join in, there is no way that they can neutralize or incapacitate this installation, because it's almost about 100 meters below the mountains. And Israel does not have the capability of reaching it there. The only capability has the B-52 bombers with a certain type of GU-754 guided bomb. Unless and until America makes that available, or unless America participates, it is an impossibility which cannot be achieved. Their contention that they will deprive Iran of nuclear capability, it may in fact turn around the other way around. Iran will now go flat out to ensure that it has a nuclear weapon, because it feels that now Iran has an existential threat from Israel. While the G7 says that they will not permit Iran for a nuclear weapon, and that Iran is the greatest troublemaker in the Middle East. Middle Eastern countries, the OIC and Arab countries and the rest of these global south feel that it is Israel which is the cause for all the genocide, the confusion and the chaos that has taken place in the Middle East, particularly in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen, and in West Bank, and as well as Gaza. So it's two different scenarios. And as far as G7 is concerned, they are mostly Western nations who always been anti-Iran. And under the circumstances, their statement, really speaking, will not carry any convictions either with Iran or with Russia or China or with the global south. Because this sort of a statement from the G7 was expected. Anything contrary would have been something of a surprise. Israel had the initial advantage of a surprise, wherein they not only neutralized 6 of their nuclear sites, but they were able to assassinate quite a few of their senior commanders, both of the IRGC as well as the military, plus certain professors, nuclear scientists, as well as certain important political leaders. That notwithstanding, Iran is beginning to hit back, and hit back very, very strongly.
Right.
Iran is not by itself. Iran is going to be supported in a very major way by China, by Russia and North Korea. Should America delve in, a situation will become extremely, extremely dangerous, with very major consequences for the entire world. The consequences are going to be far more severe than what is happening between Ukraine and Russia, or between Israel and Hamas.
Yes, Major General P.K. Sehgal, thank you for joining us here on Republic TV, and we will be right back. Viewers, time for a short break, but we'll put a focus on the rising conflict in the Middle East. U.S. President Donald Trump leaves G7 summit, and he has ordered a National Security Council meet in the White House now. And the MEM begins evacuation of 10,000 Indian students at Tehran. Batch of 100 Indian students are being evacuated through Armenia. Stay tuned, viewers. We are live and breaking.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड भी, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश में इंदौर की एक बहू की भी जान गई है। सैकड़ों लोग इसमें अपनी जान गंवाए हैं। बहुत ही दुखद हादसा है, लेकिन इंदौर की जो बहू है उनके घर में हमें हरप्रीत होरा जो बच्ची है वो अपने पति से लंदन मिलने जाना चाह रही थी, क्योंकि उनके पति का 16 जून को जन्मदिन था। हरप्रीत के ससुर जी हमारे साथ हैं, राजेंद्र होरा, उनसे हम बात करते हैं। सर, कैसे आपको कब फर्स्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन कब मिली इस हादसे की और आपकी बहू की?
सर, मीडिया के माध्यम से प्लेन क्रैश की जानकारी मिली, प्रथम वहीं से मिली। अब बिटिया उसी प्लेन में जा रही थी तो नैसर्गिक रूप से मन में डाउट हुआ, और एक उम्मीद की किरण थी, क्योंकि पहले 30 लोगों का सुना, फिर 50 लोगों का, फिर संख्या बढ़ती चली गई। फिर
आपको वहां से किसका फोन आया जिसने जानकारी दी कि आपकी बहू भी नहीं रही?
ये न्यूज़ चैनल के माध्यम से कि 242 लोगों में से एक बचा, तो 241 का ही था, और उनके फादर उनको छोड़ने गए थे। वो छोड़ कर निकले, कुछ दूरी पहुंचे थे, फिर उनको प्लेन हादसे की जानकारी लगी, फिर उनसे बात।
Big updates coming in. We're live and breaking. ED issues fresh summons to Robert Vadra. Robert Vadra likely to appear before ED office today. Vadra summoned in the money laundering probe. That is right. Vadra to appear before ED in arms dealer linked money laundering case. He has skipped earlier summons as usual, citing ill health. And the latest coming in, Robert Vadra will appear before the ED for questioning in a money laundering case. I'll try to go across to a colleague in a short while to understand more details of the case. But remember, he has been skipping the June 10 summons, saying he was not well and had to take a COVID-19 test. Okay, let's go straight across to my colleague who's joining us, who will help us understand more on the story. Riyanka is joining us live. Riyanka, Robert Vadra will be appearing once again before the ED. He skipped the previous summons. Just take our viewers through what this money laundering case is all about. Riyanka.
Robert Vadra once again under the dock right now, where we see that the Enforcement Directorate had issued summons to Robert Vadra once as he could not, attend the summons which was sent to him previously. He cited that he had flu-like symptoms, and he also underwent a COVID-19 test as per protocol. And his advocate, in fact, last time said that he had no intention to miss or skip the summons, which is why we expect Robert Vadra to be at the Enforcement Directorate office for the line of questioning. Now, this case is related to the PMLA, the money laundering case, in links with Sanjay Bhandari, who is a fugitive arms dealer currently in the United Kingdom. And it is said that Robert Vadra and Sanjay Bhandari have been very close aides of each other, which is why Robert Vadra's statement is very crucial to be recorded at this point in time. As there have been extradition process continuing against Sanjay Bhandari in the United Kingdom. We have to see and understand what exactly has been the role of Robert Vadra, because it is a money laundering case related to the illegal arms dealer at this point in time. So yes, we're expecting Robert Vadra to reach the Enforcement Directorate office today for the line of questioning.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Riyanka. I will be coming back to you for more on that story. But let's move ahead. After Congress alleged U-turn by central government in the Gazette notification on the 16th census, the Ministry of Home Affairs and the PIB fact-checked the Grand Old Party and busted the misinformation over caste census. Here's more. Take a look.
Congress MP and senior leader Jairam Ramesh said that much-touted Gazette notification on the 16th caste census to be conducted in late 2026 and early 2027 has just been issued and is a damn squib. Jairam Ramesh further alleged U-turns by the central government. The Ministry of Home Affairs fact-checked the Congress party, saying that caste census enumeration is a part of the upcoming census. and misleading information is being spread that there is no mention of caste count in the Gazette notification. Not the Home Ministry, the Press Information Bureau too fact-checked the Congress. In a post on social media platform X, PIB said several social media posts are claiming that the central government is not including the caste enumeration in Census 2027. These claims are misleading. PIB further said the government has already announced that the caste enumeration will be conducted along with Census 2027.
Some pickup is coming in right now, viewers. In a significant decision, the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee has announced that it will not send a group of Sikh pilgrims to Pakistan to mark the death anniversary of Sher Punjab Maharaja Ranjit Singh, which is observed annually on June 29. Sikh pilgrims not to visit Pakistan for Maharaja Ranjit Singh's death anniversary. Let's go straight across to Lalit, who's joining us right now. SGPC cancels Pakistan pilgrimage due to border tensions. Lalit, just take our viewers through the latest coming in.
It's a significant step which has been taken by the Shiromani Prabandhak Gurdwara Committee, SGPC. Every year, a number of groups of the Sikh devotees visits the Sher Punjab Maharaja Ranjit Singh death anniversary in Lahore. But this time, amid tensions between the India and Pakistan, this time the SGPC have taken decision that they will not go to Pakistan amid tensions between the two countries. Apart from that, if we talk about last year, 509 pilgrims have visited the death anniversary of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, which falls on 29th June. If we talk about Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who is also known as the Sher Punjab, he was born in Gujranwala, which now falls in Pakistan, and every year to commemorate the number of functions of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, a group of pilgrims always visits to Pakistan. Yes. But this time, due to the amid tensions between the two countries, the SGPC have scrapped off this decision. Back to the studio.
That is right. Thank you for joining us, Lalit, with all those details. I'm taking a very short break now, viewers, but much more coming up. We are live and breaking. Coming up next, we'll talk about Prime Minister Modi, who is in Canada for the G7 summit. Plus, Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai suffers engine snag in Kolkata. Passengers deplane. Stay tuned, viewers.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबां में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबां केसरी।
पंद्रह साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
और इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे। हाँ। तो 6 दिन में रिटर्न था उनका जाने का, तो 6 दिन में ये हादसा हो गया।
कहाँ से? अहमदाबाद की प्रॉपर रहने वाले?
नहीं, वो एक्चुअली रहते हैं हम लोग बॉम्बे है क्या। हाँ। और वाया फ्लाइट था। हाँ। तो बॉम्बे से यहाँ आए थे, यहाँ से हम लोग को उनको लंदन जाना था, यूके जाना था।
तो उसमें छोटी बच्ची भी थी, मतलब कितनी उम्र के लोग थे, उनकी उम्र क्या थी?
वो एक की 4 है और एक की शायद मेरे ख्याल से 8 है, 4 या 6 ऐसा कुछ है लड़की की।
कब से रहते थे, क्या करते थे वहाँ पे?
On prime time, we're not just reading the news, we are leading it with responsibility. Every night, we're asking tough questions, breaking the biggest stories, and setting the national agenda. At Republic School of Journalism, you will learn how to front the news with confidence, clarity, and conviction. RSJ Diploma begins June 30th. Your prime time starts here.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्टर तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना, उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ।
है ना अंकल, सिंगर इनेबल सनरूफ।
और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना।
ये मिला।
हाँ, हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश में इंदौर की एक बहू की भी जान गई है। सैकड़ों लोग इसमें अपनी जान गंवाए हैं। बहुत ही दुखद हादसा है, लेकिन इंदौर की जो बहू है उनके घर में हमें हरप्रीत होरा जो बच्ची है वो अपने पति से लंदन मिलने जाना चाह रही थी, क्योंकि उनके पति का 16 जून को जन्मदिन था। हरप्रीत के ससुर जी हमारे साथ हैं, राजेंद्र होरा, उनसे हम बात करते हैं। सर, कैसे आपको कब फर्स्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन कब मिली इस हादसे की और आपकी बहू की?
सर, मीडिया के माध्यम से प्लेन क्रैश की जानकारी मिली, प्रथम वहीं से मिली। अब बिटिया उसी प्लेन में जा रही थी तो नैसर्गिक रूप से मन में डाउट हुआ, पर एक उम्मीद की किरण थी, क्योंकि पहले 30 लोगों का सुना, फिर 50 लोगों का, फिर संख्या बढ़ती चली गई। फिर
आपको वहां से किसका फोन आया जिसने जानकारी दी कि आपकी बहू भी नहीं रही?
ये न्यूज़ चैनल के माध्यम से कि 242 लोगों में से एक बचा, तो 241 का ही था, और उनके फादर उनको छोड़ने गए थे। वो छोड़ के निकले, कुछ दूरी पहुँचे थे, फिर उनको प्लेन हादसे की जानकारी लगी। फिर उनसे बातचीत करी तो उन्होंने बताया कि प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, बिटिया उसी में ही थी।
16 तारीख को शायद हरप्रीत के जो हस्बैंड हैं रॉबी, उनका बर्थडे था, उनसे मिलने जा रही थी।
जी, पहले 19 को जा रही थी, 16 को बर्थडे था, तो बेटे के साथ उसने प्लान किया कि यूरोप भी घूमेंगे साथ में हम, तो वो इस हिसाब से 12 तारीख को निकल गई थी। 15 तारीख को यूरोप घूमने की तैयारी थी उनकी। जी,
हादसे के लिए आप सर किसको जिम्मेदार मानते हैं? एयर इंडिया में पहले भी कई शिकायतें आती रही हैं, तो इस हादसे का जिम्मेदार किसे मानते हैं आप?
सर, ये तो मैं नहीं कह सकता, पर ऐसा पूरा जानकारी है कि इससे अच्छा बोइंग कोई सी भी नहीं है, कोई सा भी नहीं है। पता नहीं क्यों ये दुखद घटना हुई, किस कारण से हुई, इसके बारे में कैसे कह सकता हूँ मैं, टेक्निकल जानकारी नहीं है सर मुझे।
दोनों इंजन फेल हुए एक साथ?
हाँ, ये बड़ा आश्चर्य, बस एक ही प्रश्न है कि दोनों इंजन एक साथ जाना, बड़ा आश्चर्य का लगा।
अभी वहाँ ATS भी पहुँच गई है जांच करने के लिए, तो जांच होना चाहिए इस एंगल पे भी कि कुछ षड्यंत्र तो नहीं?
बिल्कुल जांच क्यों नहीं होना चाहिए सर। 242 लोग हैं, 242 में उनके परिवार पे क्या गुजरी है, सबसे बड़ी बात।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
A very good morning, viewers. It's 10 a.m. and you're watching Live and Breaking with me, Deepak Suresh Kumar, and our focus will be on the air scares as well as the US military assets, its aerial assets now mobilizing in the Europe. What could this mean? Does this mean that there is a broader regional conflict that's escalating, or what does this situation mean for Iran? We'll get you all this and much more after a quick check on the headlines we're tracking. PM Modi lands in Canada to participate in the 51st G7 summit. Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai suffers engine snag in Kolkata, passengers deplaned. Air India Express flight diverted back to Delhi due to technical glitch. Flight was heading to Ranchi. Amid rising conflict in Middle East, US President Donald Trump leaves G7 summit midway, orders National Security Council meeting in the White House. Fierce fighting between Iran and Israel continues. Trump says everyone should evacuate Tehran immediately. MEA begins evacuation of 10,000 Indian students in Tehran. Batch of 100 students being evacuated via Armenia. First up, viewers, another air scare to the string of air scares involving Air India flights. This one from San Francisco to Mumbai via Kolkata. This Air India flight has encountered a technical glitch when it made a pit stop in Kolkata. According to the reports that we have, a technical snag was witnessed in one of its engines, requiring the passengers to be deplaned during the scheduled halt at Kolkata Airport. Flight AI 180 arrived on time at the city airport at around 12:45 a.m. But a technical snag in the left engine has delayed the takeoff at about 5:20 a.m. this morning. An announcement was made in the aircraft asking all the passengers to deplane. The captain of the plane also told the passengers that the decision was made in the interest of flight safety. In fact, Shivangi is joining us live from our newsroom. Shivangi, a very good morning to you. This is another Air India flight which has run into a technical snag, and it has raised a lot of concerns about passenger safety. What is the latest that we have?
That is right. This is one more case coming in, and we were highlighting the story for our viewers. This is not just one story which came in today. There are three such incidents that we have reported on today itself, and we have told our viewers that for the past few days, whether it's a domestic Air India flight flying internationally or a domestic Air India flight flying within the country, we have seen these technical snags where detours have been made, stopovers like in this case, emergency landings. Not new, Deepak, not new. Many questions being raised, but also it's very important for our viewers to understand that the passenger safety is something of utmost importance, and there's more pressure on Air India right now, given the fact that we saw that heart-wrenching incident which took place a few days ago. That's the Ahmedabad, the plane crash. Post that, Air India is under the radar. Investigation agencies are definitely going ahead and looking at their fleets, looking at their SOPs that they are following, looking at their systems. So this is one more case which is coming out. However, the technical issue was found right on time, Deepak, and that is why the stopover was made and the plane stopped. It did not continue till the technical glitches were looked at. Even though this is good in terms of early scanning of technical glitches, the big question remains that why are these technical glitches happening in the first place, Deepak?
Right, Shivangi, stay on with me. Let's also help our viewers understand what the situation has been in the last 24 hours for those dozens of passengers who have chosen Air India to commute to their destinations. First, yesterday we told you all about Hong Kong to Delhi flight which made a U-turn. This after a technical snag was witnessed on the airplane, and it was a mid-air glitch that has forced it to return to Hong Kong. A landing was made in Hong Kong before it reached the national capital. All the passengers were safely deboarded. Now, while this is about AI315, let's also tell you about SV3112. That was the Jeddah to Lucknow flight, which was again, had sparks and smokes coming out of its wheels. It was an emergency situation there, but in the right nick of time, the fire department at the airport and the rescue personnel stepped in, and all passengers, around 250 of them, were deplaned. Along with that, let's also tell you about what exactly happened on the Delhi to Ranchi Air India flight, which we just told you about this morning. This flight was also forced to make a U-turn because of a technical issue. The plane was supposed to land in Ranchi, but mid-air technical glitch forced Air India to take a U-turn and land the plane back in the national capital. The flight ops resumed after inspection and clearance. The question is, why weren't these checks done? Now, viewers, moving on to some more breaking news that we are tracking. The United States has been bolstering its military presence in the Europe and the Mediterranean amid rising tensions. Recently, the US deployed dozens of aerial refueling tankers to Europe as it weighs options for potential involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict. Additionally, the Navy has dispatched the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier to the Middle East from the Pacific. Strategic bombers, including B-52 Stratofortress, are also being deployed to the US-European Command's area of responsibility for military exercises with NATO allies and partners, demonstrating the US's commitment to global security and stability. This is the US there bolstering its presence, moving its aerial assets to Europe. And what we understand is that this is a major escalation in the Middle East. Is the US preparing for a direct military strike if Iran chooses to cross the red line? We have Major Samarpal Tur joining us live on this broadcast. A very good morning to you, sir. We have seen how the US is now mobilizing its bombers and refueling aircrafts in Europe. Do you think that this is US is a prelude to a direct involvement in the Iran-Israel conflict?
As far as the open source information is concerned, this is an indicator for one of the exercises which is due in Europe. These are the NATO exercises which are called the Europe Defender or the Air Defender exercises. So this is one of the critical exercises that NATO is holding. Now the issue with the reliability of the word military exercises has been, dissolved or lost its reputation, because since Russia invaded Ukraine in the name of military exercise, so any country now which claims they're going in for a military exercise can actually result in an actual military operation. So keeping that in mind, I'm very sure that Russia is on high alert. And moreover, if we logically see, the movement of these aircrafts are from US to eastwards, eastern side of US. So Houston, Texas, all these states are providing them a passage to come, because they are coming in big quantities. So the thing is that the KC-136 is a very old fleet. It has a flight range of 17,000 kilometers. And the new version of the fuel tankers, they are being replaced by KC-46. So they have a range of 19,500 kilometers. So the tactical advantage is that, yes, looking at the Israel and the Iran scenario at the present moment, these fuel tankers will definitely be used for supporting Israel and Israeli fighter jets in the oceans as well as on land. So this is one priority. Second is, in case if Israel gets overwhelmed in the coming days by the barrage of missile launches by Iran, then probably 101% these fuel tankers are going to be used by the B-1 and B-2 strategic bombers, and probably they are going in for greater depth in terms of targeting key strategic locations and assets in Iran by the United States of America.
Major Samarpal Tur, how do you think Iran will perceive this? Do you think it's perceiving this as deterrence or provocation?
See, this is definitely being perceived as a scene of provocation. And the second aspect is that, Iran is left out in terms of allies. Even Pakistan, yesterday, the claim was something else. And today the statements have changed, and Pakistan is claiming that it has sealed the borders with Iran, whereas there were reports, intelligence reports, that Pakistan has supplied Shaheen missiles to the Iranian regime. So it depends whether Pakistan can risk its relationship with US by taking such a step by supporting Iran. And it is a very tightrope for the Arab nations when to call it quits and when to halt this war. And thirdly, the presence of Russians in Iran, because there are Russian personnel who are deployed presently in Iran. Their weapon systems are being handled by the Russians. Most of the missile systems are joint programs with the Russians. There is presence of North Koreans also in Iran. So basically, Iran has a rut of all the rogue nations, mostly that of North Korea. So let's see what is there in the coming days, because as you would connect that the missiles that are dropping in Ukraine are of North Korean origin, the K-10 missiles. So definitely it will not be surprising to see presence of North Koreans and Russians in Iran to help Iran rebut this aggression or this war imposed on them by Israel and by the Americans. So it's going to be a very big juggernaut in terms of geopolitics amongst East versus West right now, as we are witnessing it.
Well,
and yes, if somebody is speculating that have we entered the Third World War, I definitely believe that it is an undeclared Third World War, which is already underway from the Russia and Ukraine war, and now spilling over into Iran versus Israel and America getting into it.
Major, if you think that this is an undeclared World War III, what are the consequences for the rest of the world?
See, firstly, inflation and economies are going to take a hit. Then all the airways and the waterways are going to be restricted to a certain limit. There will be off limits for trade and trading vessels, and there will be restriction of movement of many individuals. There will be a lot of supply chain management disruptions which will be taking place. As we have witnessed, Haifa has taken a lot of hit, and Iran's oil supplies have definitely taken a hit. There have been called the black tankers or the undeclared sea tankers, which used to take the fuel and go and distribute it midway to other oil tankers in the middle of the ocean. So that was something like, the biggest black marketing of the Iranian oil, which used to get Iran $60 billion in a year. So Iran was actually developing its, public infrastructure as well as the military infrastructure and the nuclear program through this oil smuggling. And now that is going to take a hit. There is going to be a restriction. There's going to be a naval blockade. There is, Israel is claiming that it has air superiority right now as we speak over Tehran. So many things in question. But the biggest question is, will there be troops on the ground in Iran is the big question. And contemplating all this, USS Nimitz and its fleet has moved towards Iran. So definitely there is something brewing. 101% Israeli troops are not going to land into Iran, but US troops, yes, they have all the very chances of doing that in the coming week.
Major, the next 24 hours are very, very crucial. And, although we might think that this is a NATO exercise, but it also seems like Pentagon is activating its contingency plans for a wider Middle East conflict.
You see, Israel has a limitation. The Arrow, David Sling, the Iron Dome, they have the limitations. They have already been stretched beyond their limits, and there is a certain extent to which they can be again, replenished and brought back into action at the earliest. So I think now it's going to be almost a week that, the missile barrages.
Major, I'm sorry
and
to
the
interrupt you
stockpile
here.
of-
We also have our executive editor joining us live from Washington, D.C. Aishwarya Kapoor, our executive editor, is live from Washington, D.C. even as the drama unfolds. A very good morning to you, Aishwarya, from India here. What's happening at the White House? Because Donald Trump has left G7 summit midway, claiming that there is a high-level meeting that will be chaired in the White House. Tell us about the latest that's happening.
Well, he has landed in Maryland. His Marine One, Deepak, has already landed on the south lawns of the White House. And as Major Tu was saying, that this is just the beginning. And here in White House, I can just confirm you, it's midnight, but then you can see the top officers of the White House who are there, present in the Oval, and then in different offices. The complete top brass of the Trump establishment is present even at this hour. The very fact that the American president left G7 prior and landed back in DC gives a clear message to the world, and a slight comment, a very slight comment by the American president to the media which were present at the G7 that anyone who is in Tehran should leave, has sent out a rippling effect across the globe, and that can be felt here in DC as well. Everyone wants to know, after more and more information coming in, that more than 30, and I repeat, more than 30 US military aircrafts landing in Europe. It's sending a very, very clear message that America is joining in this war between Iran and Israel. It is no more, and I repeat, it is no more just a verbal support. America is putting boots on ground. America is going to use the might of its military, which in fact is very clear, is a force which Iran cannot counter. And now America is going to come in full support of Israel. You can see these live visuals of the Air Force One of the American President Donald Trump landing in the US. He is back in US. It's midnight here, and he's already chairing not one but multiple meetings. And what we could confirm to you is that is complete top brass. And as Major Tu was also giving us a clear message, we are getting these live visuals coming in of the US President Donald Trump departing from the Calgary airport en route to Washington. So these are the visuals which are coming in a few minutes prior, because we have been confirmed that he has landed here in DC. So these are visuals coming in from the Wire Agency AP of Air Force One leaving from Calgary a few, I believe, around 50 minutes prior from now, because that is what the flight time is between Calgary and DC. But these are very, very turbulent times, and we could just confirm to you, after Donald Trump deciding to leave the G7 prior, 24 hours prior, in fact, in leaving the top world leaders, we have seen a statement coming in from Emmanuel Macron that the complete G7 urges for peace. But it's a clear message with 30 plus US military planes landing in Europe and the American president landing back in DC, leaving G7 right in the middle, that US and Donald Trump are not taking it lightly after the last 24 hours. What we've seen, the kind of devastation we've seen in Tel Aviv, and also the whole and the very fact that the refinery of Israel was directly hit by Iran. Now, what we are being told, that America is not only going to provide verbal support, but open military support. Till now, it was covert, but now it seems, a major tour, it is going to turn from covert to overt. Back to you, Deepak and Major Tour.
Right, Aishwarya, many thanks for joining us, but stay on with us. We also have Major Samarpar Tur also with us. Major, do you think that the CENTCOM is now silently activating its southern Europe base for any potential escalation? And do you think that all of this is Iran's own doing? Because Sunday there was a second round of talks on its nuclear front, and it called it meaningless. And now Donald Trump there issuing a warning, an evacuation warning, and then mobilizing his air assets there. How do you look at this going forward?
See, this is definitely, the reason being why America is getting suddenly activated is because Iran has already been stockpiling its ballistic missile program for a number of years. I mean, nuclear program was one of their main objectives, but simultaneously they were already stockpiling and making massive stockpiles of intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they have a good technology to back them, and a majority of the scientists who are working hand in glove with the Iranian scientists were the North Korean scientists. And now, as I told you earlier, that North Korean missiles are being used by the Russian forces against the Ukrainians. So definitely there has been you could say arms race, and it is a cause of great concern, and it is going to spill over.
Well, Major, this could also be seen as a pressure on Iran to, let go of its military nuclear program. But do you think that Iran will give in to this pressure?
If you could please repeat your question, please.
Major, this is seen as, the US, Israel building pressure on Iran, to stop working on its nuclear program. But the question is, will Iran really give in to this pressure?
See, Iran, Ayatollahs and the Islamic regime, it is with great difficulty that they had overthrown the Shah. And I don't think that they will go down without a fight. Even if they are going to go down in the fight, they will ensure that the maximum destruction is going to take place, because the local populace of Iran itself is against the rulers of Iran. They are very well aware of it. That is one of the major reasons why Mossad got the maximum support of the Iranian people. And keeping this in mind, the Ramstein air base in Germany and the Lakeheath
Major, sorry to interrupt you. Our executive editor Aishwarya Kapoor also has a question for you.
Today. Major, a lot of questions are being asked around the world today, and here in DC as well, and back across the globe. That what about the mighty Iron Dome? What about all that bravado of Israel, all that bravado of Benjamin Netanyahu, and all that military? Yes, Israel has been in support of India. India has made it clear that we want peace. Prime Minister Modi is at the G7. Prime Minister Modi and our Foreign Office has already spoken to both Iran and Israel. But the manner in which in the last 36 hours, Iran has hit out on Israel in Tel Aviv, on their military and their social important institutions, including their reactors, including their oil refineries. America, it's a desperate move, because what Iran and the supporters of Iran are trying to propagate in the international media as a PR is that, look, we are forcing the American president to leave the G7, Deepa. That is the message which the pro-Iranian supporters are trying to propagate, that we are forcing the American president to leave the G7 in the middle of it. That is what the Iranian power is today. That is their message, Major Tour. That is what they are trying to propagate. And these are live visuals, by the way, coming in from the Calgary airport. Yeah.
But Major, your comments.
As far as Iran is concerned, they have one of the largest oil reserves and natural gas reserves in the world. And when a country owns such natural resources, it is evidently clear that it is for humankind, for all of the world to consume it. So definitely all the countries in the West would definitely not be in sync with the United States or in favor of United States getting into war. We have seen the destruction of Syria. We have seen the overnight smuggling of billions of liters of oil by the Americans. So definitely the G5 is not going to take the war of Iran getting exaggerated by the participation of US. Yes, as far as the nuclear point is concerned, they have decimated their nuclear sites, and IAEA has confirmed that there has been a radioactive leak also in few locations. So keeping all this in mind, what Israel wanted to achieve has been achieved. But you see, look at the modern warfare. the drones took out 40 bomber aircraft of Russia, which missiles could not do it. So see, warfare is totally changed. The drones, it takes 9 hours from Iran for the drones to reach Israel. So that is the first wave. Simultaneously, by the time these drones reach Israel,
the world is watching. The world is also watching that the American president has been forced by Iran to leave the G7 meeting in Canada in the middle. You cannot negate that. We are seeing a flurry of information which is being propagated on both social media and on proper national media of several countries, beg your pardon, that how they are propagating this fact that how Iran in the last 36 hours, by decimating certain cities in Israel, by decimating their power plants, by decimating certain high-rise buildings in Tel Aviv, has literally pushed Donald Trump, the American president, the so-called most powerful man in the world, Deepak, the so-called most powerful president of a country which thought that it could just remove Iran from the global map in a whiff, has forced Donald Trump to leave G7, which is single-handedly one of the single most important international meetings, in the middle, and come back and address this situation. For them, it's a victory, because that is what they are trying to say. Measure 2. So something is, basically according to them, something is right that they've done. That is what Iran, if you see, social media is full of it. Iran is trying to propagate this point that, look, we have done this right. We have forced Donald Trump to leave G7 in the middle and come back to DC. We all know what is going to happen now. Once the wrath of the American army,
bombings that have taken place last night in Israel
on Iran,
has almost decimated Haifa.
Yes, Rajatu, sorry.
I got the information yesterday from my friends who are posted there. They've informed me, they've told me that Haifa has taken a major hit, and majority of the trading operations have been halted in Israel, in Haifa. The key locations, the key bridges, the key hangars which were there for lifting of the containers, the cranes have been destroyed. There has been massive damage, and you see, there is a certain limit, there is a certain turnaround time for the Arrow, David Sling and Iron Dome to be replenished. So it's been almost 5 days non-stop, and so there will be a time where there will be a time when it will be overwhelmed. There will be delay in replenishment of these defense systems. And mind you, Iran is also getting support from Russia, it is getting support from North Korea, it is getting support from China. So it is mainly undeclared war amongst East versus West. These are just platforms or territories where the weapon systems of the East versus West are meeting against each other. And do not be surprised that the shifting of USS Nimitz may result in China advancing to Taiwan.
US and Russia, which in turn, Deepak, will answer your question, which you were just asking few minutes prior to Major Tour, that is it turning into a World War III?
It is. It already has. It already has, because see, it will be evidently clear.
Major Samarpal Dur and Aishwarya, I'm really sorry to interrupt you all, but it's time for us to slip into a very, very short break. But hold your thoughts. We'll be right back on the other side with more details of PM Modi in Canada for the G7 summit, and also the United States mobilizing its aerial assets in southern Europe. Stay tuned.
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध, MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
पंद्रह साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे। तो 6 दिन में रिटर्न था उनका जाने का, तो 6 दिन में ये हादसा हो गया।
Very good morning. We are live and breaking up. Shivangi Shukla getting you the latest coming in. The Israel-Iran conflict enters day 5. G7 joint statement out on the conflict. And Donald Trump leaves G7, goes back to the United States. All this and much more coming right up. But as usual, the headlines first. Let's get started. United States moves 30 Air Force bomber aircraft closer to Europe. Engine snag in San Francisco to Mumbai Air India flight. Another Ranchi-bound Air India Express flight diverted after technical issue. Prime Minister Modi reaches Canada to attend the G7 summit. Israel-Iran escalation overshadows G7 joint statement, says Iran can never have nuke. US President Donald Trump leads G7 summit midway, orders National Security Council meet in the White House. Evacuation of 10,000 Indian students at Tehran begins. Batch of hundreds Indian students being evacuated through Armenia. Breaking news coming in. G7 issues first statement on Iran-Israel ceasefire. The statement says, we the leaders of G7 reiterate our commitment to peace and stability in the Middle East. In this context, we affirm that Israel has a right to defend itself. We reiterate our support for Israel's security. We also affirm the importance of protecting civilians. Iran is a main source of instability and terrorism in the region. We have always been clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. This is a huge update coming in, viewers, where we see that there's a joint statement which has now been released, and it's a big warning to Iran. Very clearly, G7 is saying no nuclear weapons are allowed. That is right. G7 is also backing Israel. That's the second highlight of this statement, where we see that a group of 7 nations express support for Israel and label its rival Iran as a source of instability in the Middle East. The statement is also calling for peace and stability in that region. Now, remember that it's been 5 days that we are seeing a back-to-back escalation with Iran and Israel. Israel has attacked Iran with airstrikes, raising alarms in the region, and Iran has also struck Israel back. And we'll get to our viewers with updates on this story. But right now, being joined by a guest, we are being joined by Major General A.K. Sevach, a defense expert, joining us here on Republic TV. Thank you for joining us, Major General. And sir, you know, there's so many things happening right now when it comes to Israel-Iran conflict. But I think our viewers would like to know, how does the G7 statement on the conflict help our viewers understand how will that play out as the Iran-Israel conflict has entered day 5?
You know, one thing is very clear, that the statement is loud and clear as far as G7 is concerned. They have all joined together to state that the Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. And basically why the Israel has attacked on Iran is to neutralize those nuclear weapons, because Iran was on the verge of preparing a nuclear weapon. So the point, this issue becomes very clear that the whole world is now, and especially the top 7 nations, they want that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon, because this will increase the instability in Middle East and in the whole world. So I suppose this is a very bold statement, and first time that they have joined together, everyone is speaking the same language as far as Iran is concerned, and this will go a long way. Now, will the war stop? Will the war continue? It all depends as to how much US will play a role. I feel as far as Iran is concerned, it wants now a negotiation, it wants a ceasefire, because the point is that Iran is now battered completely by Israel. Israel has a much stronger air power. It is able to neutralize its nuclear installation, energy facilities, as well as its fighting capability. And I suppose whether Israel accepts this or not, the time will tell. But the pressure is on US now that they are the one which hold the key to this problem. But certainly one can say now the G7 meeting, one thing is very clear, that the whole world is of one voice, that Iran must not have a nuclear weapons in near future.
That's right. Okay, we're getting some more breaking updates coming in. But before that, these are pictures of Donald Trump leaving the G7 summit midway. Remember that Donald Trump has decided to leave the summit, go back to the White House and hold a meeting in the Situation Room. So pictures coming in of Trump cutting short the G7 visit, urging Iranians to evacuate Tehran immediately, and also leaving Canada to rush back to Washington as the conflict has entered the 5th day. The White House has said that US President was leaving the gathering of world leaders because of what's going on in the Middle East. So that is what the White House said, that he is leaving, quote unquote, because of what's going on in the Middle East. But from what we understand, Trump has instructed his national security team to be ready in the White House when he arrives, be ready in the Situation Room. Situation Room is a crisis management center that serves as a hub for US intelligence and national security decision making. So he's asking his team to be ready there once he arrives. He will be holding a meeting. And like the White House has dropped a hint there, this will be regarding what's going on in the Middle East. Speaking of that, remember that Donald Trump had asked Iranians to evacuate Tehran immediately. Now, that statement had come in a short while back. He had reiterated that Iran should have signed a nuclear deal with the United States. First on Republic TV, visuals of the US President Donald Trump, who is now leaving, I repeat, leaving the G7 summit midway. This is the departure from Canada, and he will be moving towards Washington, D.C. And Donald Trump waving to the cameras as he's leaving. And remember that he's cut his visit extremely short. And this announcement has come just moments before the G7 joint statement, which is leading to speculations that Donald Trump is not very happy with the joint statement. That is right. This is also one of the indications coming in, that has Trump signed the joint G7 statement on Iran, because the G7 statement on Iran is already out, and Donald Trump has left just when the G7 statement is released by the leader. So this is a back-to-back updates coming in here, Republic TV, where Trump is leaving G7 summit due to the Middle East situation. The G7 is already finding unity when it comes to conflicts in Ukraine and between Israel and Iran, as Trump has expressed support for Putin, and he has urged Iranians to leave Tehran as soon as possible. So Trump has made his stance clear. Now he has left the G7 summit midway. Yes, let's go straight across to Major General A.K. Sivach, defense expert, joining us right now. G7 has been having some trouble trying to find unity over the conflicts, whether it be the Middle East conflict, the Israel-Iran conflict, or the Russia-Ukraine war. It looks like that Trump is really not on the same page like the other leaders. Major General.
Two, three issues. One, as far as Russia-Ukraine war is concerned, it is not on the same page. In fact, the other G7 countries are always demanding that we need to support Ukraine more. And also the US should also support now. There he may not be on the same page. He is reluctant to support Ukraine unconditionally. But as far as you can say Israel and Iran conflict, which is now entering on the 5th day. Now the fact that they have approved a joint statement wherein it states that Iran must not have nuclear weapon. I think that it speaks of a great volume because the US wanted that way. I suppose, considering the Trump personality, going midway from G7 is a very normal for him. He came out from JCPO, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action in 2018. He came from Paris Climate, deal which was there. So his focus is basically as on today on Israel Iran war because that may go out of hand. Now possibly he want to take stock of the situation because Iran is now not in a state to fight longer war. Iran want to now have a truce and it is already sent a filler to US, and I suppose Donald Trump can pressurize Israel also that they can have sort of a ceasefire and also Iran come back on the negotiating table with US. They were to have a 6th meeting in Oman, which has been now postponed. So I suppose this is more critical now rather than staying in a G7 meeting. After the joint statement, nothing much is left. And I suppose Donald Trump focus is more on the current situation of Israel-Iran war. And I am also, very certain that as far as Donald Trump is concerned, he also does not want this war to prolong. In any way, he doesn't want US to get involved into this war. He wants Iran must come back to negotiating table and make sure that Iran does not have weapon in future.
All right, and also Donald Trump has expressed strong support for Israel's airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, describing them as excellent and very successful. But he has also called for a diplomatic solution. Thank you for joining us there, Major General P.K. Sehgal. My apologies, Major General A.K. Sivach. And I will be coming back on to the story. At the same time, there's some more breaking news coming in where Indian students are being evacuated from Tehran. The batch of 100 students being evacuated from Tehran through Armenia. MEA sets up 24/7 emergency control room in Tehran, and emergency lines have been opened up for students. So Indian students being evacuated from Tehran. And a batch of 100 Indian students are being evacuated as we speak right now. Now, I also want to tell our viewers that a lot of Indian students are studying in Tehran, in areas of Iran. Especially, a lot of students are pursuing a medical degree there, and they are from all across India, from different states. They have there are reports of of them being in Iran, Indian students saying that they are facing a lot of issues there. All night, explosions, anxiety. And now the Indian students are being evacuated from Tehran. The MEA has made it very, very clear that these students are being relocated. And there's a 24/7 emergency control room in Tehran, and emergency lines have been opened up for these students. I really have to move ahead right now because we're getting some more breaking updates coming in. West Bengal CM Mamata Banerjee has courted controversy after she displayed lack of empathy for the victims of the Kidarpur market fire. CM Mamata tells victims that it was their fault. More than 1,300 shops were gutted in a fire that burned down the market area in Kidarpur locality of southwest Kolkata. The livelihoods of thousands of local traders were destroyed in the fire accident that took place in early hours of Monday. This is the Kidapur fire which had taken place, and the fire victims are slamming Mamata Banerjee, saying that she is not showing empathy in this case. Now, West Bengal CM Mamata Banerjee had visited this market in that area, the Kidapur area where the fire broke out on Sunday night, and post that we see that the victims have slammed Mamata Banerjee, saying that she is not showing empathy towards them. Now remember, this is a massive blaze. So on the left hand of your screen, you can see what happened after the blaze was ignited. This is the Kolkata market completely in flames. Around 1,300 shops were completely gutted. It's a massive blaze in Kolkata's Khidirpur area in the wee hours of Monday took place, and it gutted hundreds of shops in the market area. We saw that fire engines were rushed to the spot. The fire was controlled, but at the same time, we see that even after CM Mamata Banerjee visited the spot and offered compensation to all the affected shop owners, we are learning that in the latest coming in, the victims there have said that she displayed a lack of empathy. We have to move ahead right now, viewers. We're getting some more updates coming in. Let's go ahead to the other big story we're tracking right now. A fresh language-related confrontation has surfaced in Bengaluru, where a senior citizen and a businesswoman clashed over compliance with the BBMP's language policy for commercial signage, and the heated exchange took place in the city's locality of Begur, which has now gone viral on social media, once again highlighting the very huge tensions we're seeing there over linguistic identity in Karnataka. Now, the argument stemmed from a BBMP rule mandating that 60% of text on all business signboards have to be in Kannada. So, fresh language-related confrontation has surfaced. You can see that it's between a senior citizen and a businesswoman. They're clashing over compliance with the BBMP's language policy for commercial signages and boards. Now, this took place, and then now this entire incident has gone viral on social media, highlighting the tensions we are seeing when it comes to language in the state of Karnataka. All right, let's go straight across to some more updates coming in right now. We are getting some more updates at this time from the G7 summit once again. PM Modi to meet Zelensky on the sidelines of the G7 summit. Huge update coming in right now. My colleague and a senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor, joins us on the phone line. Abhishek, Prime Minister Modi will be meeting Zelensky in Canada, and this is very important to note because bilateral meetings are going to happen between Prime Minister Modi and other world leaders, but especially Zelensky meeting is very important given the fact that the Russia-Ukraine war is ongoing, and Prime Minister Modi will be meeting Zelensky very soon.
Well, yes. The few bilaterals that have been planned or that have got till now that are to take place on the sidelines of G7 summit for Prime Minister Modi. The one that caught our attention was the one with Zelensky. Prime Minister is having a bilateral with him. And then, of course, he's going to meet Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney. And apart from that, there are a couple of more bilaterals, including with Germany Chancellor Merz and Giorgia Meloni of Italy. These are the confirmations that we have. So 4 bilaterals with Zelensky, Chancellor Merz, with Prime Minister Meloni, and Prime Minister Carney. And maybe there would be a couple of more depending on time available. And we will have to see how it pans out. But Prime Minister getting into the business of hectic engagements there after landing, and as the day forms up here, and of course overnight there, depending on what all can be achieved, more engagements would be squeezed. Of course, it's unlikely that a meeting with President Trump is possible now, given the fact that he's already announced that he's leaving Canada for the situation in Middle East and to monitor it close. from the White House. So that was one big meeting that was expected and has not taken place. But yes, these 4 meetings that I mentioned are going to take place. The one with the Canadian Prime Minister Carney and Ukrainian President Zelensky taking their own tally.
That was right. And you know, Abhishek, we're getting some more information that it's not just Zelensky that Prime Minister Modi is meeting. So bilateral meetings are going to take place. And we're talking about with Germany, Canada, Ukraine, Italy. Multiple world leaders will be meeting Prime Minister Modi, Abhishek, and that too. This is G7 summit, a summit of all major advanced economies. All right, we will connect back with Abhishek on that. But PM Zelensky meet due at the G7 summit. Bilateral meetings to be taking place in Canada as the G7 summit continues. We are taking a short break. Viewers, do not go anywhere. We are tracking the biggest stories here. United States moves 30 Air Force bomber aircraft closer to Europe. Plus, engine snag in San Francisco to Mumbai Air India flight. Another Ranchi-bound Air India flight has been diverted after technical issue.
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश में इंदौर की एक बहू की भी जान गई है। सैकड़ों लोग इसमें अपनी जान गंवाए हैं। बहुत ही दुखद हादसा है, लेकिन इंदौर की जो बहू है उनके घर में हमें हरप्रीत होरा जो बच्ची है वो अपने पति से लंदन मिलने जाना चाह रही थी, क्योंकि उनके पति का 16 जून को जन्मदिन था। हरप्रीत के ससुर जी हमारे साथ हैं, राजेंद्र होरा, उनसे हम बात करते हैं। सर, कैसे आपको कब फर्स्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन कब मिली इस हादसे की और आपकी बहू की?
सर, मीडिया के माध्यम से प्लेन क्रैश की जानकारी मिली, प्रथम वहीं से मिली। अब बिटिया उसी प्लेन में जा रही थी तो नैसर्गिक रूप से मन में डाउट हुआ, पर एक उम्मीद की किरण थी, क्योंकि पहले 30 लोगों का सुना, फिर 50 लोगों का, फिर संख्या बढ़ती चली गई। फिर
आपको वहां से किसका फोन आया जिसने जानकारी दी कि आपकी बहू भी नहीं रही?
ये न्यूज़ चैनल के माध्यम से कि 242 लोगों में से एक बचा, तो 241 का ही था, और उनके फादर उनको छोड़ने गए थे। वो छोड़ के निकले, कुछ दूरी पहुंचे थे, फिर उनको प्लेन हादसे की जानकारी लगी। फिर उनसे बातचीत करी तो उन्होंने बताया कि प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, बिटिया उसी में ही थी।
Welcome back, viewers. The Financial Action Task Force has strongly condemned the April 22nd terror, highlighting Pakistan's role in dastardly terror attack. Here's a report. Take a look.
The Financial Action Task Force, or the FATF, has strongly condemned the April 22nd terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam that killed 26 people. The FATF highlighted that the attack couldn't have happened without financial backing and the ability to move funds across terror networks. FATF's latest reaction on Pahalgam terror attack is significant and could help India push to include Pakistan in the grey list. Notably, Pakistan was on FATF's grey list from 2018 to 2022 due to its terror activities. India has been pushing for Pakistan's return to the grey list, citing Islamabad's failure to fully implement anti-terror laws. New Delhi has also provided FATF with evidence related to Islamabad's terror infrastructure. The global terror financing watchdog, FATF, is yet to release a detailed report on terror financing patterns of Pakistan.
And viewers, much more coming right up. We'll be focusing on other stories we're tracking right now. Prime Minister Modi is in Canada for the G7 summit and has many bilateral meetings with top world leaders lined up. And amid rising conflict in the Middle East, US President Trump leads G7 summit midway, orders National Security Council meeting in the White House. Stay tuned.
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम।
विमल में गुलिस्तान की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
Each night on prime time, we don't just bring you the news. We lead it with responsibility, asking the toughest questions, breaking the biggest stories, setting the national agenda. At the Republic School of Journalism, you learn how to front the news with clarity, confidence, and conviction. The RSJ Diploma program begins on the 30th of June. Your prime time starts here.
विमल में गुलिस्तान के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने। 15 साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
और इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे। हाँ। तो 6 दिन में रिटर्न था उनका जाने का, तो 6 दिन में ये हादसा हो गया।
कहाँ से? अहमदाबाद की प्रॉपर रहने वाले?
नहीं, वो एक्चुअली रहते हैं हम लोग बॉम्बे है क्या। हाँ। और वाया फ्लाइट था। हाँ। तो बॉम्बे से यहाँ आए थे, यहाँ से हम लोग को उनको लंदन जाना था। हाँ। UK जाना था।
तो उसमें छोटी बच्ची भी थी, मतलब कितनी उम्र के लोग थे? उनकी उम्र क्या थी?
वो एक की 4 है और एक की शायद मेरे ख्याल से 8 है। 4 या 6 ऐसा कुछ है लड़की के।
कब से रह रहे थे, क्या करते थे वहाँ पे?
होटल मैनेजमेंट का ये था उनका जॉब। और 15 साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश में इंदौर की एक बहू की भी जान गई है। सैकड़ों लोग इसमें अपनी जान गंवाए हैं। बहुत ही दुखद हादसा है, लेकिन इंदौर की जो बहू है उनके घर में हमें हर पीढ़ी।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying with Republic TV. You're watching live and breaking this Tuesday with me, Oyona Mitra. We are tracking the developments in the Middle East very, very closely for you as Iran and Israel escalate hostilities for a 5th consecutive day. Tracking that and a lot more for you, but first the headlines at 11 a.m. United States moves 30 Air Force bombers aircraft closer to Europe. Engine snag in San Francisco to Mumbai Air India flight. Another Ranchi-bound Air India Express flight diverted after technical issue. Prime Minister Modi reaches Canada to attend G7 summit. Israel-Iran escalation overshadows G7 summit. Joint statement says Iran can never have nukes. US President Donald Trump leaves G7 summit midway, orders National Security Council meet in the White House. Evacuation of 10,000 Indian students in Tehran begins. Batch of 100 Indian students being evacuated via Armenia. All right, we were starting this edition with some breaking news coming in. The United States has been bolstering its military presence in Europe and the Mediterranean amid rising tensions. Now, recently, the United States has deployed dozens of aerial refueling tankers to Europe as it weighs options for potential involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict. Now, additionally, the U.S. Navy has dispatched the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier to the Middle East from the Pacific. Strategic bombers, including the B-52 Stratofortresses, are also being deployed to the U.S. European Command area of responsibility for military exercises with NATO allies and partners, demonstrating the U.S. commitment to global security and stability. This is the latest breaking news that we're tracking in. The U.S. has mobilized more. We have the U.S. mobilizing more reinforcements to the Middle East amid escalating tensions. And joining me live on this broadcast for more is Terry Newman. He's a geopolitical expert. And we also have our executive editor, Aishwarya Kapoor, joining me live from Washington, D.C. Aishwarya, my first question goes to you. The U.S. has rushed more reinforcements to the Middle East. This as President Donald Trump has cut short his G7 summit and is headed back to D.C. as we speak. How do you read this given the escalating situation in the Middle East?
Well, absolutely, Iona. It's 1:30 in the morning at this very point of time in DC, but the White House lights are on. White House is active. The White House press office is working as their president is en route. It's a 4-hour, 30-minute flight from Calgary, from where Donald Trump has just left. But the very fact that the American president had to leave a very important G7 meeting in Canada and come back to DC is a clear message that there is something big and massive in the offering. And the information which you just broke a few seconds prior, and that's an open source because there is yet no confirmation from the White House that the American military has activated more than 30 to 35 of their aerial assets in Europe, and they're already in the European airspace. That in itself is a massive deployment. Though there is a massive American presence in Europe, but their very presence in that very area gives a clear sign. And Donald Trump leaving G7, that is just not any other meeting. It's one of the most important multilateral international events, and the American president leaving that and coming back to DC is a clear message. DC is active with those big black GMCs getting in and out of the North Lawns. It is very clear that White House is active even this late. It's 30 minutes past 1 in the morning. Donald Trump will reach at around 4.5 hours from now, so it makes around 6 a.m. US time. So very clearly, America is planning something massive, and it's a clear message that it's no more a verbal support to Israel. America is ready to put the might of the American army right next to Benjamin Netanyahu. Back to you, Anna.
Right. All right, Aishwarya, stay on with us. We also have Terry Newman. He's a geopolitical expert. He's joining us live on this broadcast. Terry, my question to you is, given the recent escalation which has been going on for the last 5 days in the Middle East. Israel is, of course, not backing down. And Iran, we have seen, has essentially escalated its offensive on Israel to the extent that yesterday there was a strike that happened near the US Embassy, causing some minor damage to the building. My very simple question to you is, how do you assess this, and what do you believe will be the unintended consequences, larger consequences, for global geopolitics if there's no sign of a ceasefire anytime soon?
Well, whilst your colleague is at 1:30 in the morning in Washington, we are 8:30 in the morning here. We've just had another night of sirens and sleeping in the bomb shelter. The Iranian tactics appear to be changing now because we are taking out so many of their missile launchers. They're now, instead of launching hundreds at a time, they appear to be doing them in drips and drabs, but throughout the night, which is, it's an absolute pain, to put it mildly. The Americans, as your colleague has said, have not just moved 28 aircraft refuelers into the European zone, but they're also bringing an aircraft carrier from the Pacific, from Vietnam. They've turned it around and it's coming back here, and there's a sense of irony that this aircraft carrier, the Nimitz, was actually the same one that was sent when the Iranians took over the US Embassy after the revolution back in the 1970s. So there's a kind of closing of the circle there. I think the America leadership, including even parts of MAGA movement, realized that when in Iran they shout that Israel is the small Satan and America is the big Satan, they understand that Israel is fighting not just for itself, but it's fighting for the United States and for the free world. We have here a call for us to go into the bomb shelter, but I think that is the main message which needs to come through. Israel is fighting this not just on behalf of itself, on behalf of the free world, and we hope that those leaders in the G7 understand that and will support, because up until now, certainly the Brits and the French have refused to help defend Israel, and we hope they will reconsider their position.
Right. All right, Aishwarya, I'd like to come back to you. You're live from Washington, D.C., and I want to understand, as we speak, Donald Trump is back on his way to Washington. He's convened a national security meeting in a short while from now. I want to understand from you, how do you assess the situation between America and Iran escalating? Because Trump had, in fact, 2 days ago sent out a warning to Iran, saying that if they try to cross the line, then the US armed forces will issue a heavy response to Iran. And of course, then this comes a day after the US embassy in Tel Aviv was attacked. So, and this also comes at a time when Iran has in fact accused America of providing backdoor support to Israel in the wake of this conflict. So how do you see the tensions between America and Iran escalating in the wake of this conflict?
Well, Iona, it is way past the warning stage. With the American president leaving the G7 and coming back to DC, it's a clear message. He has called the national security meeting at 6 a.m. in the morning, US time, which is around 5.5 hours from now. And that is exactly the time which he takes from Calgary back to DC. But the point is, it is way past the warning stage. And as Terry was just telling us, it is just not about the Air Force. So the US is also moving their Navy, and they're moving their aircraft carriers, and that's a clear message. Otherwise, there was no need for Donald Trump to basically cut short his Canada visit, and it's just not a bilateral meeting. It's a G7 meeting. None other but Donald Trump understands how important it was for the US, both economically and strategically. But he left that, and he's back in DC in the next 5.5 hours. He has cut that short literally into half. He was to be there for the next 24 hours, but he has cut that short. So it shows the importance of what is basically coming after what is coming now. And what is coming now is the might of the American army. Because if you see the statements which are coming out of the Israeli Foreign Office now, from the office of the Israeli Prime Minister of Benjamin Netanyahu, if you see their statement in the last 20 minutes, they seem far more confident, because now they know that it's just not verbal support. The Americans have come in their support. But what is going to be interesting is how the Russians are going to act or react. and whether the Chinese, are they going to even live up to their promises made to Iran? Because lastly, whenever Chinese have made their promises to basically whoever in the world, they've never lived up to it. But the Americans are, and the Americans are coming to the aid of Israelis like never before. And as Terry was telling us, I'm just stressing, it is just not about those 24 refuelers and around 50 plus fighter planes of the American Air Force who are already placed in different parts of Europe and will be deployed within minutes after the final order comes from the American president. And by the way, he doesn't need to wait for those 5.5 hours till he is on board on Air Force One. He could take that decision any minute, because Air Force One, as we are all aware, is an active office. He can act, he can react, he can deploy from midair, and that is what is being looked after. So every movement of the American president is being very, very minutely watched, because he has left the G7. That in itself is a clear message that America is in this war now. Back to you, Anne.
Yes. Right, Aishwarya, thank you for that. Terry, I'd like to come back to you. We've seen visuals of devastation and havoc across Tel Aviv, across Jerusalem, due to the back-to-back missile strikes that Iran has imposed on Israel. And Israel, of course, has been giving a harsh response as well. How do you see Israel's military strategy moving here forward, given that Iran is absolutely not backing down? Even yesterday, for a fifth consecutive day, we've seen back-to-back missile strikes hitting the city of Tel Aviv and creating absolute destruction.
Hi, well, excellent questions. The Israeli military strategy is developing as planned, in that it is taking out bit by bit the top military echelons of the Iranian army, together with the most important ballistic missile production and missile production sites, and the means by which they then send those missiles. And in addition, dismantling the various parts of the Iranian nuclear program. Now, the reason why President Trump's leaving the G7 and going to Washington is so important is that there are a few very important parts of this nuclear program which Israel cannot deal with by itself, because they are built so deep underground. You need a bomb that's called the Moab bomb, which in typical American language, the mother of all bombs. So that is carried by the stealth B-2 aeroplane, which is currently being brought to the region. And that will obviously be an integral part of the next stage. And this is a decision, though, for the U.S. government to make in the interests of the U.S. people. So, we hope that they understand that Israel is the small Satan fighting on behalf of the large Satan, to put it in Iranian language. But we are doing everything that we can and passing now part of that job over to them.
Yeah, but Terry, if I could just ask you one more question. If you see the statement coming in from Donald Trump, he is making it very clear. He's saying publicity-seeking President Emmanuel Macron of France mistakenly said that I left the G7 summit in Canada to go back to DC to work on a ceasefire between these two countries, that is Israel and Iran, wrong. He has no idea why I am now on my way to DC, but it certainly has nothing to do with the ceasefire. Much bigger than that, whether purposely or not, Emmanuel always gets it wrong. Stay tuned. Very Trump-like, very, very Trump-like. But one thing is very clear, that what Iran has done in the last 36 hours, Terry, has forced the American president to leave and to join forces with the Israeli military. Now it's very clear that the American military forces are going to be shoulder to shoulder with their Israeli counterparts to take on Iran.
Yes, Aishra, so I fully understand and agree with you. Donald Trump loves to back winners. So my assumption is he waited at the beginning to ensure that Israel could deliver on its side of the deal. Israel has delivered on its side of the deal. And now he also, I think there's one other thing which your viewers should remember. He gave 60 days to come to a deal between America and Iran. Those 60 days were up, And on the 61st day, that was the day when Israel made a preemptive strike on the Iranian nuclear facilities. So, he gave the Iranians 60 days. He knows that they play for time. He's waited to see that Israel could deliver on its side. Israel has delivered on its side. And now, the US has to make a decision if it really wants to destroy the deeply buried parts of the Iranian nuclear program. It will have to get involved itself. And it is for the benefit of the American people and, in fact, the entire world. I'm sorry, we have to go into the bomb shelter. This could cut. There's some booms outside. Thank you very much, and have a good day. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So, Terry, I'd request you to please stay on with us. All right, we'll reconnect with Terry Newman in a short while from now, but keeping the focus on Israel-Iran conflict, we have some more breaking news coming in. The Israeli Air Force has now completed several extensive strikes on military targets in the Iranian regime. And of course, this is coming a day after the IDF released footage of their attacks on Iranian missile launchers across the city of Tehran. And this is the latest breaking news that we are getting in. Military targets in the Iranian regime has been hit. This is specifically in western Iran. And during the strikes, dozens of surface-to-surface missile storage and launch infrastructure was struck, And in addition, surface-to-air missile launchers and UAV storage sites were also struck in western Iran. That is the video on your screen, which has been released by the Israeli Defense Forces of their latest attack on Tehran. And this is the fifth consecutive day that we are looking at the raging conflict in the Middle East. And the IDF has claimed complete control over several military targets in Iran as we speak. And they are not backing down. And this also comes at a time when Iran has also vowed harsh revenge and hard action against the Netanyahu government. All right, viewers, let's now get to you more visuals from across Iran and Israel, which puts into perspective just how devastating the situation has been over the course of the last 5 days. Now, on your screen is the first video, which shows how the Israeli Defense Forces struck command centers belonging to the Quds Force of the Islamic Republic regime and the Iranian military. That's video number 1 on your screen, which shows how the IDF has taken control of the IRGC command center in Tehran. And now on your screens, we have the second video, which shows how the Israeli Air Force identified and eliminated surface-to-air missile launch troops seconds before they reached a launcher south of Tehran. Now, the troops were eliminated and the launcher, the Iranian surface-to-surface missile launcher, was completely dismantled. This is a footage that has been released by the IDF. Moving on, these are visuals from Tel Aviv in Israel, which essentially captures the aftermath of an Iranian missile strike. These are visuals from the city of Tel Aviv, which you can see is up in flames after a repeated offensive by Tehran. And emergency workers are working round the clock on war footing to evacuate citizens, to take control of the situation and to douse the flames. Meanwhile, we also have pictures of residential buildings across Tel Aviv in Israel, which have been completely damaged in the aftermath of Iranian missile strikes. The city has been reduced, parts of the city, has been reduced to rubble and debris as response teams and quick relief teams work round the clock to evacuate citizens and to ensure that they are moved to safer locations. Now back in India, viewers, shifting focus to what's been happening in Uttar Pradesh, where multiple encounters have taken place as part of Operation Langra. We are learning that encounters have taken place in Bahraich, Shamli, Firozabad and Kushinagar. In Bahraich, a daring encounter unfolded between the police and a criminal who attempted to escape after firing at the police team. The accused was shot in the leg during the exchange of gunfire and is currently receiving treatment in hospital. In Shamli, there is a murder-accused person in the village of Mamur under police station area by Kairana, where one accused was injured in an exchange of gunfire. And in Firozabad, we're learning that the police has arrested at least 4 notorious thieves and 2 accused belonging to the Odisha Jajpur interstate gang who used to do recce of goldsmiths and dupe them. They were injured in a police encounter in the Hata area in Kushinagar. Those are the visuals. On your screen. This is Operation Langra, which is in action in full swing across the state of Uttar Pradesh. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Yogi model which is in place where multiple encounters have been taking place across the state of Uttar Pradesh. This is hard action that the government has taken against criminals, murder accused, history sheeters, robbers and gang members. And those are the visuals from Behraich, Kushinagar and Firozabad respectively on your screen. The police have been working round the clock to identify and track criminals who have been evading the law for a long time, and now the law has finally caught up to them, and we have Operation Langra now, which is in place in full swing across the state of Uttar Pradesh, and this is tough action that the police has taken against the criminals. All right, viewers, now after the Congress alleged a U-turn by the central government in the Gazette notification on the 16th caste census, the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Press Information Bureau has in fact fact-checked the Grand Old Party and busted the misinformation over caste census. Here's a quick report. Take a look.
Congress MP and senior leader Jairam Ramesh said that much touted Gazette notification on the 16th caste census to be conducted in late 2026 and early 2027 has just been issued and is a damn squib. Jairam Ramesh further alleged U-turns by the central government. The Ministry of Home Affairs fact-checked the Congress party saying that caste census enumeration is a part of the upcoming census. And misleading information is being spread that there is no mention of caste count in the Gazette notification. Not the Home Ministry, the Press Information Bureau too fact-checked the Congress. In a post on social media platform X, PIB said several social media posts are claiming that the central government is not including the caste enumeration in Census 2027. These claims are misleading. PIB further said the government has already announced that the caste enumeration will be conducted along with Census 2027.
All right, viewers, now stay with us as we take a quick check of everything else that is making news across the country. This is Bharat in 5 minutes. Union Home Secretary H.S. Govind Mohan will chair Amarnath Yatra security review meeting today in Srinagar. Top brass of the Indian Army and Air Force along with heads of Jammu and Kashmir Police, CRPF and BSF will also be in attendance. Agenda of the meeting is to finalize an action plan on security front as well as preparations for the Amarnath Yatra, which will commence from July 3rd. Locals have staged a protest over the building collapse incident in the Govindnagar police station area limits of Mathura, which happened yesterday. SSP Shlok Kumar said that the kin of those who died in the incident have filed a case. The police are searching for the accused, and SSP Kumar stated that he has declared a prize money of 25,000 rupees on a person who was named in the matter. He said that the accused will soon be arrested and strict action will be taken. 4 boys have passed away after a truck hit them and drove off in Sitapur of Uttar Pradesh. Superintendent of Police Ankur Agarwal said that the 4 boys were standing near a motorcycle on the roadside. Suddenly, a truck coming from the front went out of the driver's control and overturned. All 4 of the boys got crushed under the truck. The police took them to the hospital where they later passed away due to injuries. An FIR has been lodged. The police have assured that the truck driver will be found and arrested. A fresh language-related confrontation has surfaced in Bengaluru, where a senior citizen and a businesswoman clashed over compliance with the language policy for commercial signage. The heated exchange has now gone viral on social media, highlighting the simmering tensions over linguistic identity in Karnataka. The argument stemmed from a rule mandating that 60% of text on all business signboards be in Kannada language. Angered by frequent power cuts, two youths entered the substation and set a table on fire by pouring petrol on it. These two unidentified youths also attempted to attack the operator on duty. However, the furniture inside the office was set ablaze. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee courted controversy after she displayed lack of empathy for the victims of the Khidirpur market fire. CM Mamata told victims that it was their fault. More than 1,300 shops were gutted in a fire that burned down the market area in Khidirpur locality of southwest Kolkata. The livelihoods of thousands of local traders were destroyed in the fire accident that took place in the early hours of Monday. All right, viewers, we have some more breaking news coming in. This is the MEA statement that has been released by the Ministry of External Affairs on the evolving situation in the Middle East. The MEA has said that Indian students in Tehran have been moved out of the city for reasons of safety through arrangements made by the embassy. Other residents who are self-sufficient in terms of transport have also been advised to move out of the city in view of the developing situation. This is a statement that is now coming in from the Ministry of External Affairs as tensions continue to simmer in Iran and in Israel in the wake of the rising conflict in the Middle East. And now the MEA has taken quick action and urged its citizens to maintain caution while also evacuating Indian students out of Tehran. And just to bring you more details on what the MEA has said, viewers, the MEA has said that separately some Indians have been facilitated to leave Iran through the border with Armenia, and that the embassy remains continuously in touch with the Indian community, with the Indian diaspora in Tehran, with a view to extending all feasible assistance to Indian nationals in the country. And further advisories will be issued by the MEA in accordance with the situation. And now it's time for a very quick break, viewers. But on the other side, engine snag in San Francisco to Mumbai Air India flight. Another Ranchi-bound flight, which was an Air India Express flight, has also been diverted after technical issues. And Prime Minister Modi has now reached Canada. He is set to attend the G7 summit. On the other side of a very quick break, more details on that.
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ गुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबां में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबां केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश में इंदौर की एक बहू की भी जान गई है। सैकड़ों लोग इसमें अपनी जान गंवाए हैं। बहुत ही दुखद हादसा है, लेकिन इंदौर की जो बहू है उनके घर में हमें हरप्रीत होरा जो बच्ची है वो अपने पति से लंदन मिलने जाना चाह रही थी, क्योंकि उनके पति का 16 जून को जन्मदिन था। हरप्रीत के ससुर जी हमारे साथ हैं, राजेंद्र होरा, उनसे हम बात करते हैं। सर, कैसे आपको कब फर्स्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन कब मिली इस हादसे की और आपकी बहू की?
What it takes to report from the front lines. Accuracy, urgency, courage and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It's not theory, it's a live learning inside a working newsroom from day one. If you want to report the truth when it matters the most, IRGC is where you begin. Courses begin on June 30th. Apply now.
Shivangi Shukla getting you the latest coming in. We have a lot lined up for you in this show. We will be talking about the Iran-Israel conflict, multiple developments coming in. G7 summit leaders have issued a joint statement backing Israel and saying that Iran has to de-escalate. All this and much more coming right up, but as usual, the headlines first. Let's get started. US moves 30 Air Force bombers aircraft closer to Europe. More Air India snacks found, technical snacks found in 2 Air India flights. Prime Minister Modi reaches Canada to attend G7 summit. Israel-Iran escalation overshadowed G7 joint statement says Iran can never have nuke. US President Trump leaves G7 summit midway, orders National Security Council meet in the White House. And evacuated 10,000 Indian students in Tehran begins batch of 100 Indian students being evacuated through Armenia. Pakistan FM rejects Iran's official claims that Pakistan will use its nuclear weapons on Israel if the latter uses it on Iran. Yesterday, diplomatic sources in Pakistan had denied these claims. Now it has been formally confirmed by the Pakistan FM. That is right. Big update coming in right now. Viewers on Republic TV, Pakistan rejects Iran's nuclear weapon claims. And remember that this is coming in just after the joint statement that has come in from the G7 leaders, where they have spoken about Iran and its nuclear weapons, saying that Iran cannot and never have a nuclear weapon. And now we see Pakistan going ahead and endorsing Iran in this case. Back-to-back updates coming in right now on Republic TV. The leaders of the G7 countries have issued a joint statement saying Iran should not have nuclear weapons and affirming Israel's right to defend itself. After this, Pakistan going ahead and reaffirming, I repeat, reaffirming what and rejecting the G7 leader statement. That is right. So back-to-back is coming in right now. So let's go ahead and hear what the Pakistan FM Ishaq Dar had to say. Pakistan endorsing Iran after G7 leaders say Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
पाकिस्तान ने ये कहा है कि अगर इसराइल ने हमारे ऊपर न्यूक अटैक किया तो पाकिस्तान इसराइल के ऊपर न्यूक्लियर हमला कर देगा। ये गैर ज़िम्मेदाराना और इतनी झूठी खबर है, और वो सोशल मीडिया में चलती चलती अभी मुझे थोड़ी देर पहले पता चला कि डेली मेल ने पिक कर लिया इंग्लैंड में। तो मैं और पाकिस्तान का डिटरेंस इज ऑब्वियसली अल्लाह ताला ने इस मुल्क को ना सिर्फ न्यूक्लियर कुव्वत बनाया बल्कि मिसाइली कुव्वत भी बनाया हुआ है, और कई ममालिक को तकलीफ भी होती है, लेकिन ये हमारी अपनी सिक्योरिटी के लिए है, हमारी अपनी स्टेबिलिटी के लिए है, इस रीजन में स्टेबिलिटी के लिए है। वरना 9/11 9/11 के बाद दोनों फौजें 11 महीने आई बॉल टू आई बॉल खड़ी रही। अगर ये ना होता तो शायद पता नहीं क्या हो जाता उस वक्त, क्योंकि इंडिया को तो कोई मौका चाहिए था। तो मैं सिर्फ ये क्लैरिफाई करना चाहता हूँ, चूँकि अभी भाई ने बात भी की है, तो मैंने सोचा कि मैं हाउस को जो अब तक की डेवलपमेंट्स हैं बैठा हूँ तो मैं शेयर कर लूँ। तो हमने कोई ऐसी स्टेटमेंट, हमारी तरफ से कोई ना स्टेटमेंट किसी ने दी है, इसको फैब्रिकेट किया गया है इसको। और मैंने आपको एक वो मिसाल दे दी है कि ट्रंप, कल प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप की चल रही थी, और वो जब हमने 3 जगह से चेक करवाए तो वो AI जनरेटेड यानी वो फेक थी, वो जो क्लिप था।
All right, big event coming in right now, viewers. Let's go ahead and reiterate what exactly has happened. Israel versus Iran war is exploding, and we saw that the G7 leaders have backed Israel, but warned Iran, gave a very important warning to Iran. Iran can never have nuclear weapons. But Pakistan coming out and going ahead and rejecting the nuclear threat claim against Israel. So we see the camps being split right now, and this is coming just after the leaders of the G7 countries issued a joint statement saying Iran should not have nuclear weapons and affirming Israel's right to defend itself. Pakistan coming out with its own statement and clearly saying that Iran's nuclear capabilities and Iran's nuclear statement by the G7 leaders has been completely denied by Pakistan. So these are some back-to-back updates coming in right now. Pakistan absolutely rejecting what the G7 leaders have said, calling it fabricated and irresponsible. That is right. So big update coming in right now, viewers, on Republic TV. And remember, this is coming just after the leaders of the G7 countries issued a joint statement saying Iran should not have nuclear weapons and affirming Israel's right to defend itself.
जनरल्स को कोट करके कि जी पाकिस्तान ने ये कहा है कि अगर इसराइल ने हमारे ऊपर न्यूक अटैक किया तो पाकिस्तान इसराइल के ऊपर न्यूक्लियर हमला कर देगा। ये इतनी गैर ज़िम्मेदाराना और इतने झूठी खबर है, और वो सोशल मीडिया में चलती चलती अभी मुझे थोड़ी देर पहले पता चला कि डेली मेल ने पिक कर लिया इंग्लैंड में। तो मैं और पाकिस्तान का डिटरेंस इज ऑब्वियसली, अल्लाह ताला ने इस मुल्क को ना सिर्फ न्यूक्लियर कुव्वत बनाया बल्कि मिसाइली कुव्वत भी बनाया हुआ है, और कई ममालिक को तकलीफ भी होती है, लेकिन ये हमारी अपनी सिक्योरिटी के लिए है, हमारी अपनी स्टेबिलिटी के लिए है, इस रीजन में स्टेबिलिटी के लिए है। वरना 9/11 के बाद दोनों फौजें 11 महीने आई बॉल टू आई बॉल खड़ी रही। अगर ये ना होता तो शायद पता नहीं क्या हो जाता उस वक्त, क्योंकि इंडिया को तो कोई मौका चाहिए था। तो मैं सिर्फ ये क्लैरिफाई करना चाहता हूँ, चूँकि अभी भाई ने बात भी की है, तो मैंने सोचा कि मैं हाउस को जो अब तक की डेवलपमेंट्स हैं बैठा हूँ तो मैं शेयर कर लूँ। तो हमने कोई ऐसी स्टेटमेंट, हमारी तरफ से कोई ना स्टेटमेंट किसी ने दी है, इसको फैब्रिकेट किया गया है इसको। और मैंने आपको एक वो मिसाल दे दी है कि ट्रंप, कल प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप की चल रही थी, और वो जब हमने 3 जगह से चेक करवाए तो वो AI जनरेटेड यानी वो फेक थी, वो जो क्लिप था।
All right, big updates coming in right now. I just want to go across to our guest who's joining us for more. We have with us Colonel Malik, a defense expert, on the phone line. Thank you for joining us, Colonel. What do you make of this statement which is coming in, where Pakistan is rejecting Iran's claims? And remember that this is coming in as the G7 leaders have clearly said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. The G7 leaders have backed Israel, and it looks like that Pakistan once again has rejected the threats that Iran poses to Israel and the West Asia region.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for inviting me. I'm Colonel Malik, just to want to contribute with my views. Ma'am, first of all thing, Pakistan saying that we will nuke Israel and vice versa, I think this story does not stand its ground. Reason being, if you go to the roots of this issue, the roots is that Israel is not threatened by Pakistan. And Pakistan is a well-known nuclear power today and for the last 25 years. Iran is always threatening Israel based on its proxy. Because the modus operandi of Pakistan and the Israel looks similar. Like if Pakistan believes that let India suffer through its 1,000 cuts, let India bleed through its 1,000 cuts. Similarly, without employing its manpower, its equipment, Iran also thinks let Israel also die through our proxies. That is why the Israel feels always threatened from the proxies, and he sees the root cause in Iran. Iran is openly saying that we don't want to see Israel on this mother earth. So that is the reason that Israel is always looking the decimating Iran in all terms, economic terms, nuclear terms, and resources and energy terms also. They are not looking at Pakistan, although they also see that Pakistan is the epicenter of the terrorism all over the world. But however, seeing the current situation, Israel also will not get involved in the Pakistan, seeing that it's stretching too much of far, and Pakistan doesn't have the capability to strike Israel directly or indirectly. Neither Pakistan has the allies of those kind of, that कहने की बात अलग होती है, but when it comes on the ground and operationability, Pakistan does not have that capability to strike Israel. So this is my say on this, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Pakistan FM has said very clearly that if Israel nukes and attacks Iran, then Pakistan will attack Israel with nuclear weapons. He says this is irresponsible and false news, adding that the claims had become viral on the internet, and says that from our side there has been no such statement made. It was fabricated. Thank you for joining us there, Colonel Malik. I am getting some more updates coming in right now, where the Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai through more updates in terms of what is happening. Now, this was going through Kolkata, and it suffered a technical snag as usual. That is right. Back-to-back updates coming in right now, where we see that Mumbai-bound flight has hit technical snags. And not the first time that we have seen this. There are 3 cases already of technical issues being reported from an Air India plane. Air India flight from San Francisco to Mumbai through Kolkata suffered a technical snag in one of its engines, requiring passengers to be deplaned during a scheduled halt at the city airport early. Flight arrived on time at the city airport, but a technical snag in the left engine delayed the takeoff at around 5:20 hours. An announcement was made in the aircraft asking all the passengers to deplane. The captain of the plane told that the passengers, the decision was being made in the interest of flight safety. Another incident has come to the fore. The Air India has expressed that this was a technical snag which has led to this issue. Now, what we see is that on your screens are 2 flights and 1 technical snag. The exact scenario repeating time and again. There's Air India flight AI-180, Air India Express flight, both the flights facing technical snags, one which has led to the travel plans of the passengers being disrupted. All right, we have with us our guest, Group Captain JP Bajpai, aviation expert, joining us right now. Thank you for joining us, Group Captain. I just want to ask you a simple question, and that is that more cases of snags and technical snags coming out when it comes to Air India planes. But it is also important to note for our viewers that a center has formed a high committee, a panel, where these issues are being looked at. The fleets of Air India are being scanned, especially to understand why these technical glitches are happening in the first place.
Madam, on backdrop of such a massive air crash which took place at Ahmedabad, everybody, not only public at large, media, and all the people associated with the aviation becomes very critical on our observation with respect to any flight disruptions. Unless until we know what were the details of technical difficulties or technical snag on these aircraft, these flights, it will be difficult to make a comment or to link with each other. However, in routine operations and the flights, such technical snags keeps emerging. But one thing I would like to mention, which is of paramount importance over here, what happens when such a massive air crash takes place, though the original equipment manufacturer, OEM, recommends certain equipment or certain system which are having redundancy, or if they are unserviceable, their flight can still go on and the list of such system and such equipment gets compiled and is provided to the captain of the aircraft on board the aircraft, that is known as MEL, Minimum Equipment List. Simultaneously, pilot is assisted for its operations. There is a quick reference handbook. There is a reference of these systems which are having a minor difficulty get listed, which stipulates the aircraft maintenance engineer's actions, followed by acceptance by the captain, and ultimately captain should be comfortable to fly the aircraft with minor unserviceability which are approved or cleared by MEL handbook. But in such a scenario, when everybody is so critical for the technical unserviceability, and if pilot has to take his own discretion, he prefers for the sake of flight safety to put down the snag and aircraft remains on the ground till the time it is rectified.
All
this
right,
is I say on the subject.
Yes, thank you for joining us there. That's Group Captain GP Bajpai, aviation expert, ex-consultant, flight safety, Air India, joining us there. I think we have with us Iona as well from our Republic newsroom to help us understand the story a little bit better. Iona, we are trying to help our viewers understand what really is happening. But one thing is very, very clear. Technical glitches have been caught, thankfully on time, so passengers are safe. That is very important to note for our viewers. But the question is that what is really wrong in these Air India flights that so many technical glitches are being caught back to back every day, Iona?
Absolutely, Shivangi. In fact, that's a question that Air India and Tatas must answer as to why Air India so far has failed to comply with DGCA rules and carry out and enhance their safety checks, because this is something that they've always maintained, that passenger safety is paramount for them. Yet we're seeing that over the last few days, and especially in the aftermath of that tragic AI 171 crash, that several such snags have been reported. In fact, as we speak, I'd like to report to our viewers two more instances. This is a case of Air India flight AI 180, which reported an engine snag, and this was a flight that was bound to Kolkata. Passengers were deplaned due to engine trouble, and the flight was headed from San Francisco to Mumbai via Kolkata, and a technical issue absolutely grounded the flight and passengers were left in the lurch. And we have another case of an Air India Express flight, which was a Ranchi bound flight, which was diverted back to Delhi after reporting technical snags mid-air. Now, these two instances, of course, come a day after we extensively reported on the case of the Delhi-bound Hong Kong Air India flight, which had to be diverted back to Hong Kong after it reported snags mid-air. And it puts the focus back on the question of passenger safety, Shivangi, and why Air India is reporting so many issues over the past couple of days. And the DGCA has come down heavily on Air India and Boeing 787 fleets over failure to comply with their safety standards. And of course, there's a lot of scare among passengers at the moment, and this is something that the Air India company and the Tatas must answer.
That is right, Iona. Thank you for getting those details. I will be coming back to you. Two flights, same glitches, same technical issues. Okay, we move ahead right now, viewers, because we're getting some more updates after Congress alleged U-turn by central government in the Gazette notification on the 16th census. The Ministry of Home Affairs and the PIB fact-checked the Grand Old Party and busted the misinformation over caste census. Here's a report. Take a look.
Congress MP and senior leader Jairam Ramesh said that much-touted Gazette notification on the 16th caste census to be conducted in late 2026 and early 2027 has just been issued and is a damn squib. Jairam Ramesh further alleged U-turns by the central government. The Ministry of Home Affairs fact-checked the Congress party, saying that caste census enumeration is a part of the upcoming census, and misleading information is being spread that there is no mention of caste count in the Gazette notification. Not the Home Ministry, the Press Information Bureau too fact-checked the Congress. In a post on social media platform X, PIB said several social media posts are claiming that the central government is not including the caste enumeration in Census 2027. These claims are misleading. PIB further said the government has already announced that the caste enumeration will be conducted along with Census 2027.
All right, getting some updates coming in. Home Secretary HS Govind Mohan will chair Amarnath Yatra security review meeting in Srinagar, and top brass of Indian Army and the Air Force along with heads of Jammu and Kashmir Police, CRPF, BSF will also be in attendance. Agenda of the meeting is to finalize action plan on security front as well as preparations for the Amarnath Yatra, which will commence from July 3rd. Locals have staged a protest over the building collapse incident in the Govind Nagar police station area limits of Mathura, which happened yesterday. SSP Shlok Kumar said that the kin of those who have died in the incident have filed a case. Police are searching for the accused. SSP Kumar stated that he has declared a prize money of Rs 25,000 on a person who was named in the matter. He said that the accused will soon be arrested with strict action will be taken. 4 boys have passed away after a truck hit them and drove off in Sitapur of Uttar Pradesh. Superintendent of Police Ankur Agarwal stated that 4 boys were standing near a motorcycle on the roadside. Suddenly, a truck coming from the front went out of the driver's control and overturned. All 4 of the boys got crushed under the truck. The police took them to the hospital where they later passed away due to injuries. An FIR has been lodged. The police have assured that the truck driver will be found and arrested. Fresh language-related confrontation has surfaced in Bengaluru, where a senior citizen and a businesswoman clashed over compliance with the language policy for commercial signage. The heated exchange has now gone viral on social media, highlighting the simmering tensions over linguistic identity in Karnataka. The argument stemmed from a rule mandating that 60% of text on all business signboards will be in Kannada language. Angered by frequent power cuts, 2 youth entered the substation and set a table on fire by pouring petrol on it. These 2 unidentified youths also attempted to attack the operator on duty. However, the furniture inside the office was set ablaze. West Bengal CM Mamata Banerjee courted controversy after she displayed lack of empathy for the victims of the Khidirpur market fire. CM Mamata Banerjee has said that 2 victims said it was their fault. More than 1,300 shops were gutted in a fire that burned down the market area in Khidirpur locality of southwest Kolkata. The livelihoods of thousands of local traders were destroyed in the fire, the accident that took place in early hours of Monday. Heavy rainfall has been witnessed in parts of Shimla. Shobit Katiyar, senior scientist IMD Himachal Pradesh, stated that in the last 24 hours, light to moderate rain has been observed at many places in Himachal. In the last 24 hours, thunderstorms have been recorded in some areas. Heat wave conditions have not been recorded in anywhere. He informed that today and tomorrow, light to moderate rain with thunderstorms and showers can be seen in Shimla and other areas of the north and west eastern Himachal area. A yellow alert has been issued in all these districts. Operation Langra is in full swing. In UP, another encounter took place in Kanpur between miscreants who demanded extortion from trader and Kanpur police. Miscreants opened fire on the police when they were stopped during checking. During the encounter, 1 miscreant was shot on the leg and another miscreant tried to flee from the spot. Police seized 1 pistol, 1 mobile and cartridge shells from the spot.
में हमारी चेकिंग कर रही थी, उसी समय 2 बदमाश बाइक से आते दिखाई दिए, जिनको पुलिस पार्टी द्वारा रोकने का प्रयास किया गया, लेकिन उन बदमाशों ने पुलिस पार्टी पर 2 फायर किए और मुड़कर भागने लगे। हमारी पुलिस की टीम ने भी अपने बचाव में फायर किया, जिसमें एक गोली बदमाश के पैर में लगी और वो बदमाश बाइक सहित गिर गया, लेकिन दूसरा बदमाश वहां से भागने में सफल रहा।
Private bus fell into a gorge. This happened in Mandi district in Himachal Pradesh. As per reports, 15 to 20 people have been injured in the accident. Meanwhile, relief and rescue operations are obstructed due to heavy rains in the state. 2 people are suspected to be trapped under the bus. So coming up, viewers, engine snag in San Francisco to Mumbai Air India flight. Another Ranchi-bound Air India Express flight diverted after technical issue. Prime Minister Modi has reached Canada for the G7 summit. Multiple bilateral meetings lined up. Stay tuned. We are live and breaking.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
15 साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
और इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे। तो 6 दिन में रिटर्न था उनका जाने का, तो 6 दिन में ये हादसा हो गया।
कहाँ से? अहमदाबाद की प्रॉपर रहने वाले?
नहीं, एक्चुअली रहते हैं हम लोग बॉम्बे है क्या, और वाया फ्लाइट था, तो बॉम्बे से यहाँ आए थे। यहाँ से हम लोग को उनको लंदन जाना था, UK जाना था।
I don't just report from courtrooms on verdicts, I decode them. From breaking news to complex legal verdicts, every word is backed by law. At the Republic School of Journalism, you will learn how to report on legal issues with accuracy and speed. The RSJ Diploma, starting on the 30th of June. Apply now.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए, और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जलजीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा सिप।
पंद्रह साल हो गया उनको वहाँ पे, 10-15 साल से।
और इंडिया में कब से आए थे?
इंडिया यहाँ पे उनके मम्मी का हार्ट हो गया था बोल के उनको मिलने आए थे। तो 6 दिन में रिटर्न था उनका जाने का, तो 6 दिन में ये हादसा हो गया।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए, और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश में इंदौर की एक बहू की भी जान गई है।